Hi, fantasy book lovers, TGIF. This is Thank Gods It's Fantasy Podcast. We are Kayla, Veronica, and Bryanna, three best friends who love talking about all things books, from the romance, the conflict, and of course, morally gray men. Every 2 weeks, we will be getting together to talk about our theories, opinions, and reviews of our current read. Please read along, join in, and be one of our book besties too. Welcome to our show, you guys. We are back to books, and we are very excited about it because while we loved Bridgerton, this is what we actually started this whole podcast for. Thanks for joining us. In this episode, we'll be talking about our newest read, Spark of the Everflame, written by Penn Cole. This book is the first of the Kindred Curse Saga. Before we start, we'd like to make our usual disclaimer that many of the things that we talk about might be more suitable for mature audiences. We are all adults here, so if explicit language or content is not for you, then turn back while you still can. So I finished this book a long time ago. Not a long time ago, like a week and a half ago. It felt like a long time. And I've been wanting to read this next book so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But we had to wait to film this podcast, so not to ruin any of the things.
Yes.
And for being like 400 plus pages, there was a lot of world building in this and character development. And it was, let's get into it. So we're basically in this world where the kindred had come to the mortal realm and fell in love with some mortals, and they decided to, I guess, did they give up part of their immortality so they could be with the people that they wanted to be partners with for life, right? And so when they had children, the children became the Descended. So they were kindred and humans. And so we have, I don't know if there's any actual kindred alive anymore.
I don't believe so. I think that they are all gone and it's all Descended that are now on all the thrones. I think it's so interesting that because I think they were all siblings. The kindred were all siblings. I believe.
I think it was
Yes.
all different families. No?
I don't think that
Or is that what then came?
It said that they were all siblings, but I thought it was so interesting that all of them just so happened to fall in love with a mortal from each different realm.
Well,
did they plan that?
So, okay, hold on. So the Descended came from the original 9 kindred and their mortal lovers. And then after they what is it? So I guess they did have their own realm already, because then they can't really leave their realm, the Descended.
No, they fell in love with someone from each realm, and then they used their magic, and when they used their magic to like stay with their mortal lover, it created that magic that now attaches them to that specific realm. So when they go to other realms, their magic doesn't work. I don't know if it doesn't work completely, but it like doesn't work as well.
I think they feel it. I think they notice whenever it doesn't work, because they're I can't remember it. I remember writing it down, but they're like their life force or their magic, their tether to their realm, they can feel it pulling on them.
Yes. And then they talked about that. Just, I don't know if he was half and half Descended, that the child was in another realm and then happened to go back to the realm that he was actually from, and then all his power came back to him. So it really is, you may kind of feel it stirring,
but you don't come into your full power. What did it say here? I remember that part of one of the things that they wanted to do was that after the kindred and their mortal lovers came together, they called it the forging.
That's right. Yeah, that's when they use their magic.
Yes, because that was basically like the beginning of when their two species or entities, whatever you want to call them, came together, and it was supposed to help create this new race, and we were going to be all kumbaya, and we're going to be powerful together and all for one. And that, all things have a nice sparkly dream in the beginning, but then reality hits, and hate grows, and
which is wild. It would be really interesting to know how long they allowed those children to be born before they made that cutoff of, okay, no more mixing. Now only Descended can be with Descended. And we
Not
don't
long
want.
ago. It
I
wasn't
No,
was
that
gonna
long
say,
ago.
and it was
I'm like,
because it was affecting their magic, right? Like, it was
they
Yes.
didn't want to
because that was
dilute
starting
their
to
magic.
yeah, it was
Yes.
weakening it or whatever, so they were like, "We gotta stop."
But it's wild because it's like, okay, this is how you started. Like, you
Mm,
started from mortal and kindred, but you know, whatever, joining your magics together. And then all of a sudden they're just like, nope. So now y'all just have to be like kind of incestual within your families.
yeah.
So now that we're talking about this, and it literally just popped in my head.
Yeah.
Oh, but I don't want to spoil it. I'll come back to it. Let me write it down in my notes. Hold on.
Does somebody have a
I just came to me. Okay. Anyway, so let's get to the book, you guys. We've talked about the main things that are going on. So our main
Yes.
character is Diem, is how I
Mhm,
say her name. Diem
Mm-hmm.
same.
Bellator. And she's just a little feisty woman. But in the beginning, in the prologue, it just starts off with a coulda, shoulda, woulda kind of moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's like her last memories or her last moments with her mom, like before she disappears. And she said, if I just
Mm-hmm.
could have done this, or if I just heard this a little bit more, then maybe she'd still be here. And then so chapter one starts off basically going back and talking about how that
Mm-hmm.
day went. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
it's on Forging Day.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mhm,
it's supposed to be a day of celebration and
Mm-hmm.
getting drunk and
mm,
tomfoolery and stuff like that. And it was, but DM is a healer, so she's very, very busy because
Mm-hmm.
people get too drunk sometimes and they
Mm-hmm.
get handsy and you know, it's just what it is. But on
Yeah.
this particular forging day, there was a blood sun.
Mm-hmm.
And that is supposed to be like said to be a warning from the gods or a harbinger of great upheaval. And I guess the last time it had happened, like the last big event that had happened, like generations ago, there was a great civil war, and they renamed that war the Blood War because of the blood sun. But the
Mm-hmm.
most recent one was 2 decades ago, and that happened to be on Diem's birthday.
Diem's
So
birthday.
so far, nothing bad
Yeah.
happened. But according to her brother Teller, he's like, "Yeah, you were born. That's a great, terrible thing that happened on that day." And
I
Hey,
love her brother.
that is some
I
foreshadowing if I have ever seen any.
Mhm,
I know, but
So good.
I love Teller just because he is the younger brother, and like he picks on DM pretty good, but he's also
Yeah.
like the level-headed one because I don't know. Usually I feel like the older sibling is like
Mhm.
the more level-headed one and like the protector, but he definitely is, a daddy's boy, and
Mhm.
mhm.
he's so funny to me. Anyways. Okay, so the town or the place that we are actually living in, like the whole continent or realm, is called Amarion. Amarion?
Mhm. A Marion? I don't know.
And
Sounds
like we
good.
said, each of the kindred fell in love with a citizen there. They gave up their eternal youth and bound their lives to their lovers, and their offspring became the new race, now known as a descended, like we talked about. And these were supposed to be the future rulers to the prospective kingdoms to bring an era of peace and prosperity with both races living in harmony. Mm, mwah,
Yeah.
mwah. So they think.
But yet almost every single realm has kicked mortals out. There's like 2 or
Yes.
3 left that'll even allow mortals
That's
there,
like mortal
and
friendly. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's like mortal friendly to where they can like come and go at will or whatever. So I'm like, damn, you all have kicked them out almost everywhere. So how are you trying to act like mortals are still even somewhat a part of your societies at
Uh-huh.
I
all?
mean, I don't know that they hardly are at this point. I mean,
Mm-mm.
I think there's some allusion to it in some of the areas, but for the most part, I feel like they're like, "Nah, if you guys,
Yeah.
Well, because
I
we
thought,
do our
again,
dirty work."
yeah.
yeah, no, exactly. Because again, with any book that we read where one like or one kind of group of people live for a very long time, they usually just
Mhm.
poo-poo on the people who are like a blink of an eye. And
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
no different in this book. right?
No, totally. I
No.
thought it was super interesting. One, the map really caught my eye on this one. It's not
Yes.
often that the maps really like, I like looking at the maps, you know me, I'm like, I like that. But this one was cool. I had never seen like a round
A target.
like a target that
Yeah.
I'd never seen that before. I also love that each realm has their own types of magic and their
Mhm.
own there were several aspects of this that were kinda giving me, like, Hunger Games vibes. Like, you have all the
Yeah.
realms, kinda like the districts that each have their specialties, and then some of the characters kinda reminded me,
Uh-huh.
like Henry was giving Gale vibes for sure, you
Mhm.
know? So, I was like, "Hmm, I like that." It was super interesting, like, that caught my eye right from the start.
Well, and
Yeah.
I actually like that the name of the realms kinda correlate with what they are. Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Lumnos is light, Fortos is,
Yeah.
like, force, Phanos, I feel like is
Makes it a little
more.
easier to remember.
Yes,
Yep.
because
Yep.
with all these realms, it's gonna get hard. I do
Yep.
also like that every single realm has different eye colors, and that if you're mortal, you only have brown eyes.
I
Yeah, I
know.
thought that was super interesting too.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like, they all have very defining features to where they're from.
Yes.
Yes. Anyway, so back to the day that Orly or Diem's mom disappeared. Diem's walking home from the healer center where she works, and these guys try to mug her. And she actually has been taught by the best, her stepdaddy, Andre. And she's always packing some blades on her and she protects
Mhm.
herself. And guys just don't like it when a girl beats them down so easily. So
Nope.
they cry wolf and call for the little popos to come get them
Yep.
or help them. And she goes and runs. And while she runs out to the Paradise Row, I think that's what it's
Yeah.
Mhm.
called, she runs into a worker there and she says, "Help me." And she's like, "I'm not helping
Mhm.
you. Nothing's free." She's like, "Here, take my blades. That's all you have
Mhm.
to do. There's nothing else." And she's like, "All right."
Mhm.
But she ends up being someone that we come back to later.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
as she makes her escape, she, like, sees a flash of red, and she's like, "That's my mom." She knows her mom's hair, like, her hair just stands out.
Mhm.
I guess it's just not a common
Mhm.
color for most people, and she kinda hides between the little stalls in the downtown area, and she's
Yep.
listening to what happens, and mom's talking to a tall, dark stranger who has not brown eyes, and this is, like, a pivotal moment, I think,
Mhm.
where, she hears them fighting and kind of having a disagreement, and mom's like, I have this secret, I know this, and if you don't want this to come out, you're gonna" something. They're just fighting, and then this hag.
Some kind of
Yeah,
Yeah.
blackmail is happening there,
it's
yeah.
not good. It's not a good thing, but
Not good.
there's this hag that like, sneaks up behind her or was just kinda watching Diem, and I feel
Yeah.
like
Yes.
she's important too somewhere in this, like,
Oh, for
I think she's
sure.
gonna be very important. I
but
got witch vibes from her. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
hag, witch, same,
or like
same,
a
but I'm like,
seer or something, right?
yes,
Because
Mhm.
some kind of something.
and I don't know, I just as I was trying to pay attention and pick at this whole conversation this hag was having with Diem while Diem was trying to, like, hide and not let her mom see that she was spying on her, but she she's like, "Those aren't the answers you need, not yet anyway, but I've got other answers for you, answers you won't find from any mortal or descendant." And I'm like, "What questions?
Mm.
What answers are we looking for?" And then she
Mhm.
guesses or surmises that her eye color is not from, like, her real dad is not who she calls dad,
It's not
because
Yes.
Andre.
it's not Andre. And I guess this is a secret that only Andre and Arlie and maybe Teller know
I
about
think
also.
Teller knows.
I think it's just the family.
Doesn't Mara know?
Yeah,
Mm,
I
I
think
think Mara knows.
I was gonna say, I think she was confided in to some degree. I don't know what
yes.
all she knows, but there
Mhm.
is something she knows more
Yeah.
than.
Yes. And so she says that mother of yours thought she could hide it from the world, thought she could hide you with that little powder of hers, but secrets like that can't be kept forever, and it appears the kindred are done waiting. I thought the kindred were dead. Are they just talking about like spirits, or are they talking
Well,
about?
they are now their gods, so the kindred are
Yeah.
who they pray to now, and they are
Oh.
still watching over them, so they think,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and passing judgment on them, and they're also, like, you know, jumping ahead a little bit, they decide who's gonna
Who's gonna
be
be
the
the next?
next,
That's
and they
right.
do that based off of who's the most powerful, so I think, they are still up there in the picture in a way, but
Yeah.
reading this back now that we've read the whole thing, there's so much to pick apart
Yeah.
Mhm.
in this sentence
Yes.
alone.
This in this whole interaction, there's so
Yeah,
much.
big foreshadowing. Big
Well, and she
foreshadowing.
knows basically everything going on with her. That's what's so interesting.
Sh
Like she
she
knows
knows
all the secrets.
everything,
Yeah.
Yes.
and she also calls her by her name.
Mhm.
Guys, what if this is Lumnos?
Maybe.
Like this one
Because
of
they
the
say later on, the voice that is passed through someone turns to female. So it was definitely like Lumnos speaking through a person, like way at the end. It
Woo!
was
Goosebumps
female.
already.
Lumnos is female. What if this is Lumnos coming down and being like, listen, your time is up. We are, your secrets are coming out.
that would be fun.
Who
And do you
knows?
think we'll continue to see her in this body then? If she
I don't
pops
know.
up in the future, will she still look like this hag seer person and any interaction she has, it's going to be
I
I'm just
don't,
curious
I don't
cuz I feel like
know.
at that point you could come back in a different body also if it's just like a
Yeah. And I
coming
don't
back for a
picture them
moment
as a
type of thing.
hag. I picture them like ethereal and beautiful and
I know, but
but
you got to hide that
yeah,
initially.
that's what I feel like she was like hiding it. She obviously knows
Oh,
everything about her. So
I mean, Lumnos is all about shadow and light, you guys, and so she could create shadow and it can reflect, and you can make anything you want, right?
that's true. She sneaks up on her. She doesn't even know she's there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
because
this is also the first time she has the vision.
mhm.
Right after this interaction with her, she has that vision. So
Mhm.
I know. Like I said, just this part, I was like, I this is important, and I gotta gotta
She does
talk
a lot
about
of
it.
foreshadowing right from the get-go,
yes,
like the
which
author.
you wouldn't know it, until the end, but
But that's
the
why I
fact
like it. I like that it's, like, really laying out for you what's to come, but you
I
have
know.
no idea what any of it means.
well, and I'm thinking of it now because I'm seeing our notes. She calls her daughter of the forgotten, and
Yeah.
she's also called from that being daughter of the forgotten, and they say, like, release yourself, get like daughter of the forgotten,
Yeah. I know. There's
Mhm.
so much, you guys, and
accept
then
this.
what is it? The hag or the seer also says that her dad knows that she's alive and he's waiting for her. Is like, could it be a kindred that's still alive?
I
Yeah.
feel like her dad is a kindred. I really do.
But like, which one?
I don't know, but I
She
feel
has
like he's
light
a
and
kindred.
shadow. Which one is it? Like, I am. Oh my gosh.
She has fire,
She
which
has light
flame
also.
she has light also. I feel like
I
she's gonna
wonder if
end
she's
up
gonna
having
have
all of them.
yeah. I was gonna say, I
Ooh!
feel like it's gonna be all of them
Oh my
situation.
god. This
Because
is
yeah, we've
why.
kinda hinted at 3 now, I feel like.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
And of
She's
course,
definitely yeah. She's had
we'll get to it. She's
she's
obviously
had
one of the most powerful.
she's had cold, she's had light.
Yeah.
I don't has she had shadow? Or has that only been
She's
Luther? I
had
don't
Well,
know that she's had shadow. But and then she's had flame.
but I thought because out obviously getting ahead, I thought he explained like shadow, you could like will things into nothingness because she does like evaporate.
She evaporates someone.
So I think she does have
I love that.
shadow,
Oh my
but it's
god,
like
yes.
one of the ones she fears the most, it seems, because every time that one happens, she
You
thinks she's
guys,
fucking losing her goddamn mind.
I'm
Well, and
telling
they say
you.
that they say
I know this looks so good.
this is another part that I highlighted in mine. They say when the boy was talking about shadow, it tells you to fight. It says shadow always wants to fight. And what is
It
her mind saying all
all
I
the
the
time.
time? Fight, fight, fight.
ugh.
This
Yeah,
is
anyway,
so
to
very
me,
exciting.
I know.
I really think her dad's then gonna be whoever the shadow one is then,
The
because
Mortos, you think it's that guy?
yes, because that seems
Mhm.
to, like, even though she fights that one the most, I think it's one of her strongest.
Do you think Orally is well, yeah, and I get the opinion that that one's not good, and I get the opinion that just from the interaction, also jumping ahead at the very end, that her
Yeah.
mom has going back to a place.
Mhm.
It obviously didn't go well last
Correct.
time, so I don't think that this is going to be a
So
good
many things.
person by any means.
I don't know.
No.
There's lots
It
of things
does
I'm
kinda
thinking.
feel well, and
I
it's
have
funny because this is this her little dad situation reminds me so much of Bryce. The fact her stepdad taught her to
same.
fight,
Oh my gosh,
and then I really
same.
think her real dad's gonna be kind of a dick. I was just like, "This feels familiar."
I had so many, like, this feels familiar moments, and
Yes.
also same
Yeah.
thing, like, her dad, Andre, we're just gonna call him her dad. Well, once we get to
Yes.
whoever her biological dad is, we'll just call him the sperm donor. Uh, the donor. Uh, he's so sweet.
I
He
I
know.
loves her
love
so
him.
much. Their
I know.
interactions were my, like, absolute favorite. You can
Mhm.
tell he literally adores her. She is his daughter through and through. I highlighted so many of their
The
interactions
interactions.
because they were just so sweet, and I love that also, like, same thing, she calls him commander. I feel like Bryce
Yeah.
called what did she call him?
Yeah. I
I feel
feel
like
like
she
there
had,
was
like, a
a
playful little, like, serious name
yeah.
for him too, and, like, whenever they are having big emotions, they need to go fight it out. I
That
love
was
that,
cute.
and we all know how I feel about a stabby main character. It's my favorite thing ever when a girl
Mhm.
can, 1, show up anybody and be underestimated and then show them that they're wrong kinda thing,
It
and,
really
like,
is so
the
satisfying.
juxtaposition for her of
Yes.
she is a healer and has taken this sacred vow to
I know.
not hurt anyone, and really feels that in her
Yes.
soul, but yet she could take probably anybody down if need to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I liked it.
I'm here for it. So there was like a prophecy, maybe I want to say, when she was meeting with the seer. I don't remember if it was her who said it or if it was in I think it was in Diem's vision. When forgotten blood on Heartstone falls, then shall the chains be broke. Life for life, old debts require, or eternal be his yoke.
Didn't understand any of that. I was like,
No,
"Yeah, even now, I got nothing."
but I feel like this is gonna mean something. It's gotta mean something.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Anyways, so she's distracted by this old lady and this vision, and then next thing you know, she turns around and her mom's gone, and they haven't seen her. And we fast forward to
6
6 months
months.
later,
Mhm. Wild.
so
and
sad.
everyone is in denial. They search for her
Mhm.
briefly, and that
Yeah.
comes up
Yeah,
much later in a
yeah,
Uh-huh.
very heated conversation, argument. I don't know.
yeah.
But her family is very convinced that she'll just come back any day and she'll just walk through the door, and she just forgot to tell them that she was on a trip or that she had something to do.
Well,
But
because she's
Diem,
very secretive, right?
She's
Like,
super secretive, so they
we
have a
talked about it many
level
times.
yeah, they have a level of, like, understanding that it's just normal for her to do things without them knowing what she's up to, which is wild to me.
Agreed.
I know.
The fact
But
that
I
they
mean,
were like,
if you grew up, then that's just normal to you, right? That's just what the
yeah,
normal is.
Yes.
But
totally.
what's also was weird is that Diem's norm was never having truly met a descended before in her whole entire life. And the
Not
fact that
allowed
she's a
to.
healer, she was not allowed to treat them either. And she could
Mhm.
only see them from like afar, but never ever allowed to interact with any of them.
Yes.
Yep.
And she was not happy about it because here Teller is, her brother, going to school with the descended.
With them.
Yep.
Yes.
Like, but she could never do anything with them. So But Diem's a fighter, as we, you know, have come to learn and
She
love.
she a little
Mhm.
spicy.
Yes.
Maybe a lot spicy
I was
sometimes.
gonna
Little
say
rat
more than a little.
little reckless. She's a little reckless.
Just a little
Yes.
reckless, but Diem and all this time, even though her brother hasn't really talked about it much and her dad hasn't talked about it much, she's still looking for her mom. She's still investigating, like trying to find out who this mystery man is. That's like her big thing. Is like, if I find out
Yes.
who this person is, then that will be my lead, and then that will take me
Mhm.
to where my mom is. And
Yep.
6 months later,
Yes.
she still hasn't found him. Oh, and then I forgot about this, that Hag was like, "Stop taking that powder that your mom
Yes.
gave you." I know she had mentioned it, but she's like, "Stop taking it." And so she does.
She
And then
does.
Huh?
it's been months now, and Andre finally finds it in like what, his tackle box or something. And he's
Yes.
so mad at her because she's been
He's
taking this
mad
for a very long time. How long has
Yes.
it been?
to stop the hallucinations.
Yes, because at
Mhm.
a young age, I think when she started like hitting puberty or something like that, she started
Yeah.
having
I
like
think it was puberty.
When
very
she came
vivid,
into
lucid.
her magic.
She started having
Yeah, and they were
visions.
trying to stop it.
Or like, maybe they weren't visions. Maybe she was actually seeing what her magic was unfolding and growing into, and she just thought she was hallucinating it because she thought she was human. And she was born with brown eyes, and then through puberty, her hair and her eye colors changed because now she's
But
got,
do we know that she was born with brown eyes? Like for sure,
yes.
or have we only been told that?
No, I'm pretty sure that people actually saw her when
With
she was
brown
little.
eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Yeah.
when
And
her magic matures,
yes,
she probably
because
lost and her hair.
yes.
Mhm.
And so she
Mhm.
says it was a sickness that made her eye color change and her hair color
Also,
change.
fourth wing. I'm like
Ah, I know there
Mhm.
really are just like these
Little
tiny
little
little
elements.
snippets
elements of
here and
so
there.
many things
When
we've
she
read
said
that I'm
like I
like,
lost it at a young age due to a sickness, I was like, hmm,
Did you
weird.
though?
I've heard
Did
that
you?
before.
yeah.
But I love that Teller just knows his sister so well, and he's like, "Oh,
Mhm.
Dad finally found out, huh?" And
Yep.
she's like, "Wait, you've known this whole time?" He's like, "Yeah, you've been an angry, moody bitch." And so,
Yeah.
and
I love their
I know.
yeah.
I would have been like at his throat. I'm like, "What'd you call
Yeah.
me?"
Yeah.
But yes,
Been
Nah.
a
you're not
been a
wrong.
little moody.
Uh-huh.
Treating everyone like an enemy. I thought it was like, of course, again, the brother who just calls his sister out like that. Only he would be brave enough to say something like that to a woman
Yes,
of her
Yep.
20s.
for sure.
I love it
Um,
though.
Mhm.
I don't remember, you guys. I don't remember how we found out that King Ulthar was
Ulthar.
dying.
Well, she
Oh, because Mara takes over Arlie's responsibilities, and then
and they're like, okay, who are we going to see there then? And then
mhm.
it comes out that it's the king that her mom was taking care of that entire time.
Yeah.
Yes,
Was it? Did Henry tell her or did
I
Mara tell her?
no, I actually think it was Teller who told her. I think they were after their
Tell her.
discussion
Teller
Yeah.
did tell her.
because he's
Mhm.
talking to Lily,
Teller did tell her.
Princess Lillian,
Yes.
who
Princess
is
Lillian.
sisters with Prince Luther,
Luther.
who is niece and nephew to King Ulthar. And I think
Mhm.
when they were talking about Lily, that's how it came up that he was actually dying, and DM had
Yep.
no idea. That's right.
Yes.
It's all coming back to
Yes.
me 2 weeks later. It's fine. That's why we write lengthy 18-page notes, right, Brie?
Yep.
Yes. This is why.
Anyway, so Diem has a little side piece, maybe a little friend turned something a little bit more. Henry, he's a
I
little
mean,
douchebag,
best friend
aka
turned.
Best friend turned semi-lover, occasional lover.
say
I
no.
mean, definite lover. You
They did
definitely
I
get it
things.
know,
on.
but they like stopped when her mom went
Well,
missing.
yeah,
I
because
think
she was
they
sad.
I think they were getting pretty
Understandably.
serious before her mom went
Yes.
missing, and then I think that just like wrecked her emotionally, and then she was like cut off for a minute. And
Mhm.
now it feels very lusty, not lovey on her
Lusty
side.
for her, lovey from
For
him. Like
her.
he seems
Lovey
like
for him.
he's
He's
in love with
in
her.
love.
infatuated, like
So he, the whole time, was giving both Dane
Dane.
vibes and Gale vibes. So like Gale from
That's what I
Hunger
read.
Games, in that like best friend, go hunting together, have
Yeah.
like had this relationship for so long, but yet like flirty, whatever, close with the family. And then also Dane, in that you're a nice guy, but are you a nice guy? I don't really believe that you are, you know?
Yeah.
See, I also said there was an undertone of Tamlin since he ends up kind of choosing a side that ends up, I feel like, is
All
gonna be
bad.
opposite of her.
All
Exactly.
bad.
Red
We picked all of
flags.
these, like,
Red
snippets of
flags.
bad
So many
Yes,
red flags. Red
yes.
flags, Henry.
I literally I think it was Veronica I was talking to, and I was like, as soon as he was introduced, I knew he needed to go, and we needed to meet
Yep.
her main man. This
I
was
had the
not it.
ick
I need Yes, I
from
had the
him. I was like,
immediate ick.
And then
No,
they
I was like,
when they were like hooking up, I was like, no,
"No."
mm-mm,
I know, I was like,
I
"No,
don't like it.
this is not your man. We gotta keep going."
No, I know. It's so funny. You like knew immediately, and then like I was the same way. I was like, can we get to the
Skip
good
him.
stuff here and just like be done with
What?
him because bleh,
So funny. But
not
I
into it.
I do, you guys, when they're all hooking up, I do like that the man is taking the contraceptive instead of the woman.
Yes.
Except for the fact he didn't want to.
No,
I was
because
like,
he's like, "We're about to have so many
ugh,
babies. Let's do it." It's still
ugh.
She's
unprotected,
like,
but she's not getting
"No,
pregnant.
no babies."
Ooh, he's like, it'd be a gift from the gods. And I'm like, ooh, he's trying to trap you, girl.
Entrapment!
Actual entrapment, everyone.
Don't do it. Red flag. Anyway.
Red flag, left and right.
Yeah, but she made him take it anyway. She's like, "Fine,
Yeah, she did.
you're not
I know. She
touching
was
me."
like, get off me. Then, like, I love
I
that for
know. Yeah.
So they're at the healer center. What is it? What's after Henry had invited Diem over to Fortos, to one of the
her. Mm-hmm.
realms, because he's like, "I'm gonna go there for a delivery and it's a 2-day trip. You should come with me. It should be fun. Like, get away. You've been stressed out about your mom for so long and you work so hard at this healer center. Come with me." Blah blah blah. Anyway, so we're back at the healer center, and then this descended teenager, I don't know, I imagined him as a
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
teenager, comes
Teenager.
running in all frantic, and he's like, "I need Orly. Where is she? I've been sent over here. We need her help." And we find out that there's been a huge accident over by the palace and children are hurt. The stone roof
I know.
has collapsed. I think someone was playing with their magic and it got out of hand because there's so many
Elric was. Mm-hmm.
stupid Elric. Anyway, so
I liked him.
I know, me too.
Mara, because she was super close friends with Orly, knows how Orly feels about Diem taking care of Descended, and she tries to keep Diem home or in the center and tries to take other
Mm-hmm.
trainees with her. And in true Diem form, she's like, "Fuck that. I'm going with you. It's
Yes.
better if I go." So she
Mm-hmm.
goes. And they take Lana with them,
Yep.
even though Mara still doesn't want Diem to go. But it was
Yeah.
the first time that Diem's ever touched a Descendant. She's like, "Oh, you're just like me. Like, there's really
Yeah.
nothing special." But
Yep.
as they're following Elric to the castle, they find this hole in the wall, like the secret entrance passage, or was it just a break in the wall?
It was a secret entrance that was hidden behind vines that Elric took them through. It was a shortcut into the
Yes.
palace. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they're, and I guess this palace, like in the back, it's beautiful. Like there's a bunch of light, like everything's
Mm-hmm.
sparkling, almost like holographic, and it's just beautiful and nothing that she expected, right? When they get there, I guess it's a huge mess, and they find out there's 3 children that were hurt, an older one and then 2 younger ones, and the youngest
Mm-hmm.
one, I think, was the most hurt, and then the oldest one was the next hurt. So Mara, because she has more experience treating the Descended, they decide she goes to the youngest one, and then Mara goes and treats the teenage girl or Descended, and it happens to
Mm-hmm.
be Princess Lillian, you guys.
I
Mhm.
know. She's so sweet.
I
I
love her
know.
character.
I
Just
like
this
her a lot.
whole interaction, you can just tell that Diem's a really good healer, not just of the body, but like
Yes.
she could
Uh,
calm somebody down, like her touch. I got
Fantastic.
that sense, right? Like
Yes.
Every single time she interacted with any patient,
Yeah.
I was, like, so impressed by the way that she calmed them down, regardless if they were, like, some
On death's
ask it didn't
door.
matter their
Mhm.
background, what
Correct.
they did, she didn't matter, it does not matter, that's her patient. That's the best kind of nurse too, like,
Yeah.
Yes.
looked past everything else
When I feel
and
like that's why we can appreciate it so much
Mhm.
more
Yes.
is because we do work in that field and we know
Yes.
how hard that can be, and
Yes.
Mhm.
she just does it every
Effortless.
time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
'Cause I
good.
could feel her calm through the book, like,
Yes.
I felt like as she was soothing her patients, she was still trying to keep a calm within her and exude that
Yeah.
out to her patient, and
Yep.
I loved it, like, I loved that I could feel that through written word and paper. I
Yes.
loved it.
I also love that while she was doing that simultaneously, she was going through her assessment
Mhm.
and mentally, like, checking off the little boxes, and it's those are things that we do every day, same exact thing where you don't even think about it.
You're
It's an
just doing it.
automatic you're looking head to toe, looking at everything, knowing, "Okay, because of this, I need to get this. Because of that, I need to get this." It's just once you get into that mode, it becomes second nature, so I loved seeing that also,
Mhm.
while coinciding making her patient feel so comfortable and at ease.
Yeah.
And the fact that she's doing this with an overbearing asshole at
Like
at
like
Lily's
over the
side.
top of Lily, like, holding her.
Who she
Sh
realizes is the man her mom was talking to and not get
I
distracted by that?
I
right?
know. I
Wait,
know.
lock we'll address that later.
Address it later.
Gotta
We'll
go
address it later.
please. Yeah.
Write a note so
Yeah.
we come back to it. Anyways, so while we're interacting with Lillian, we kind of go on with what Diem kind of knows about the Descended, that they have like as they mature, as they get older, eventually their skin becomes steel strong and impenetrable, almost like Superman.
Mhm.
That they're just naturally beautiful. Well, at least the Luminos realm, everyone's very
Yeah.
beautiful here. But as kids, they're still to them considered fragile because they can still get hurt,
Yeah.
even though they still
Mhm.
have the capability of healing quicker than most, well,
Mhm.
than mortals. And
Mhm.
so Lily just has this broken arm, and yes, she would heal from it, but she still has pain and she still needs to set it in order for it to heal
Mhm.
properly.
Yep.
And when when we know that it's Prince Luther now that was
Mhm.
there, the
Yes.
overbearing asshole. When he's like, "Do you want
Mhm.
me to set it?" She's like, "No, I know what I'm doing. Are you the healer? Back the fuck off. I can do
I
my job. Thank you."
I
I
And
love
he's
love
that.
like,
that so
"Are
much.
you sure?" And then she just like snaps that shit back into place and nobody says anything.
I know, I
And
like that he just kinda like and it's not until later that she understands why that was a big deal, but I loved it so
Yeah,
much.
because I mean, I feel like it's fine if we talk about it now. She's not supposed to be able to do that. Their
no.
bones are supposed to be like iron. Like, you cannot
Correct.
Yeah,
Which is
do
why
steel.
it
that.
should
Yep.
have been him, but
Mhm. Like
Because
it's
he's
hard
like,
to
"Ah!"
Mara
reset that stuff. And
Mara had
and
to have someone else do her patient because she's
Correct.
not strong enough, and even another Descended
has to be
struggled doing it for
stronger.
the
Yeah.
kid.
Yep. Yep, for a
And she
kid.
casually just did it.
It was just like, "Pop!"
"Ah!"
She was so offended
Which
by him saying that he wanted to do it.
I but I mean, like, I before I obviously found out all the things and, like, how strong they're supposed to be, and I'm like,
Yeah,
"Yeah, back off, you don't know what you're doing, you could actually make things worse."
yeah,
Nope, had no idea that that was
yep.
the real reason. He's just used to
I
helping
know.
people because he's so strong.
I know,
Anyway,
I died.
and then because of the potions that DM had gave Lillian to help with her pain and everything else, and obviously from the broken arm, that's an acute pain, right? We don't realize that she's bleeding out badly, and she's actually sitting in a
Yes.
puddle of her own blood underneath her dress.
Mhm.
So when she
Yeah.
starts to pass out and Luther starts to freak out again, but here Diem is staying calm and just trying to hold pressure to staunch the bleeding and starts to pray. Doesn't she start to pray to like the old gods, not the
Yeah.
Not out
Yes.
loud in front of Luther, I don't think. She does later, but I
Yeah.
think this time it was in her head.
Yes, because she's
Yeah.
like, "Oh my gosh, how do I it's just someone help." And then all of a sudden she gets like this
Well, and
tingling sensation in her arm.
she was distracted by him because she was like, it's the guy, and so she was kind of distracted by him and didn't do a full thorough assessment of her patient until
Mhm.
all of a sudden Lily was starting to collapse, and so she's really beating herself up about that.
Mhm. And she's like, I don't know. I don't
When
think
she
she was
realized how bad the bleeding was too. Like
So
she's like, "Oh
bad.
shit."
and that
Yeah.
voice in her head, I don't know. I think like it
Telling
was
her to
pretty
fight or
soon in the
whatever.
beginning of the book where she like yeah, it's just the only thing it tells her to do is fight. And it
Fight.
makes yeah, it comes back to her here too, but
Mhm.
all of a sudden her arms get all tingly and she gets like this sensation and a strained light comes up from underneath her hands. Is it Lily? Is she naturally healing? Or is it Diem? What is it?
Definitely DM.
But she said it
Definitely
also
DM.
comes from like her chest too, like it's coming from like her
Mhm.
center. And it's
Her
almost
soul.
yeah, like it
Mhm.
almost is painful, like how much it's working.
Yeah.
But is it painful because she's not in the right realm? Like she's not supposed to
That's
be using that?
I know, I keep wondering that, like, the mutedness, I feel like, of
Yeah.
her power, it does feel a little muted. It'll be interesting to see if that's different now, but especially after she goes to Fortos or whatever was
Mhm.
interesting. I think she definitely has, obviously, Lumnos powers.
Mhm.
She's shown some of those, so she has some of this realm, but it'll be interesting to see about the others too. Do you guys feel like do you feel like Luther feels energies? Because I feel like
Yes.
there's several different times where he can tell when someone's fading away
Well, he also
because he
says that
starts
he feels her
panicking.
power.
He feels her power, but also I'm wondering if he feels I know there's something to the fact they feel each other's magics, but
Yes, for
um
sure.
I feel like he feels people's energies too, because there's times with both her, with Lily, and with the king that I felt like he could tell when they were trying to fade away
Mhm.
Mhm.
and could kind of feel their magic around
Yeah.
him. So I
Maybe.
feel like, yeah, I feel like he kind of can feel energies to a degree because he does freak out when Lily starts kind of fading away, and I
Mhm.
feel like he knows when the king was fading away too.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
seems to be those close to him
Yeah,
mainly.
yeah, totally.
Family and then of course her, which we'll see what
Yeah.
that's about. But yeah, I wonder if it's like a familial thing cuz I don't know that that's everyone. It'll be interesting to see if it is or not, but
Yeah,
it seems to be those close to him.
yeah.
I know. Yeah. So it was just a miracle that DM saved her, or that's what
Hmm.
the thought
When she
is.
hit it.
She did. She was just like, I don't know what you're talking about.
She's like, it was Lily. It was her
But it was
power.
gone. Her whole there was no scar, which
Nothing.
is nothing. There was no evidence that it ever even
Mhm.
happened.
That's a fourth power then. Healing. Because
No,
healing
that's what
is
I'm
Oh,
Fortos, right? Is
Fortos,
Fortos
yeah.
is
yep.
healing. Guys,
Maybe,
Mhm.
she's gonna have
maybe
all of
you
them.
guys, maybe she was born in that kindred isle that it's in the center of all the realms, and that's why she has all of the powers. I don't
Oh,
know. Anyway,
maybe that's where
that's
Orly
where her mom is.
was.
Maybe
Mhm. Could
Because
be.
I don't know.
it has wait, because it okay, this is way jumping ahead. But because it has those things in it that represents every
Uh
single
huh. Uh huh.
realm, and
Uh huh.
Orly's there. What if there is a god above the kindred gods
There is
that
Oh
like
because
god.
there's more stones there. There's more stones there, you guys.
there's
There's
that
Yeah.
only
like
9
gave
flames.
the
There's
kindred
10.
their powers? There's 10.
There's 10 stones
Just saying.
and 9 flames.
And that's why she's the forgotten. She's the forgotten kindred that didn't actually have sex with a mortal and tell her mom.
And that was her mom's
She's a whole
job.
new realm, guys. A
She
whole
is
new
her own
realm.
realm. She is of all
Yes.
realms.
Oh
I
god.
got
Oh,
goosebumps.
I'm in.
We're getting way
We're
too
just having
excited.
revelation after revelation.
Wait, wait.
What?
No, maybe I need to suck it back in because we're not there yet.
Write it down. Try
I
it.
mean, we're already way ahead.
Yeah,
I can't.
it's fine.
She's trying to write it down with her broken wrist.
Anyways,
Not her
so
wrist,
after the whole fiasco and healing and stuff, Diem tries to find a washroom to wash all this blood off of her hands, and Luther follows her,
Mhm.
and that's when he notices her eyes, and she's like, "I'm not descended," and tells him the normal lie that the family has come up with. And he said, "I saw you make the light," and she's like, "No, that was Lily, not me." And he doesn't
Wait,
believe her.
also, aren't her eyes silver? Like,
Yeah.
or like really like white light kind of thing?
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Which could be a mixture of luminous, like really, really, really light blue,
Mhm.
slash, don't they say that shadows are like, is like the absence of light?
I don't remember. But there's
Or
a
like
lot, like,
black is the absence of color.
could
I was gonna
Colorful eyes.
say none of them have that color eye. That's why I think she's her own.
She's her
Mhm.
own for sure.
Mhm.
That's why they don't know what
Yeah,
to
because
do with
everyone
her.
else is a different color. I was looking through to see. I was like, does anyone have anything similar? They're all pretty like green, red, black.
Well, and
Like,
for all we know, there hasn't been a mortal that has obviously been with a kindred since the original.
Correct.
All of their children could have had whatever their native realm eye color was until they got their magic. We have
Mhm.
just only ever had descended, so they came from
true,
people with blue eyes
Yep.
or
true, true, true.
black or whatever. So
Yep.
this could be completely normal for all the original descended
Descended.
children.
Yeah.
For sure.
I want
This
to
is
read
all
Yeah.
so exciting.
I
I want the next
know,
book now.
it's been a while. But this is when he's like, "Is your dad from Fortos?" And she's like, and that's all the confirmation he needs. He's like, "You're it." Even though she's still
Mhm.
saying no, she's
Mhm.
not. Anyways,
Mhm.
but Mara finally tells her that descended bones, even as toddlers, are hard to steal. And then that's when she was like, "Well, that's weird because I fixed that, set that real
I
easy."
casually popped that back into
I
place.
snapped the shit out of that guy, so
And that usually the descended have to do it. And that's when she also finds out from Mara that that was Prince Luther there and their relationships with Princess Lily and everything. And then Diem kind of decides that she wants to take over for Mara, who took over for Orly in the palace, because I think she's trying to get closer to Luther at this point because she still is looking for her mom. She's still trying to find out where she is, grasping any
Mhm.
breadcrumbs that she can have, because I think
And she wants to make
Mara,
sure Teller can still go to
yes,
that school. 'Cause that was part of her mom's debt.
bargain.
Yeah,
Like,
as
yeah, it
she
was like part,
yeah.
it's a life debt that the mom had made with the king to
Mhm.
be the palace
Well, it
healer
wasn't
for
even the
her.
king, it was with Luther, wasn't it, technically?
It's with
True.
Luther in place of the king. Like he did it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Correct. But he's the one who did
Mhm.
it, technically.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's a long debt to be paid, especially if your son's only going to be in school for a little while.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, and then later we find out maybe that's not the best,
Yeah.
which I'm intrigued to know more about
Yeah.
Mhm.
later. We'll get to it. We'll dive in.
So Henry and Diem go on their trip to Fortos, and we this is when Diem finds out that Orly has like talking to Henry about things more than she has talked to Diem about things.
Yeah.
About like sheltering you doesn't keep you safe forever. To beat your enemy, you have to know your enemy intimately, and there's no place better to do it than in your own home.
I mean, other than the fact that Henry's mom died when he was young, and they do say many, many times that Orly took him under her wing and was like the closest thing to a mom that he ever had. But
Yes.
this is too political of a statement
Yeah.
Mhm.
to be for nothing. And it can't be for nothing that Orly's this very, very impressive person, very charismatic, literally runs everything she's involved in. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, she was Descended were impressed by her and Andre. So
Yeah.
it makes me feel like she definitely could be involved in some very, very big things. And the fact that they said the whole thing is run by a woman, I was like,
Yep.
Immediately I thought it was her mom.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Well, and
it'll
she
be interesting to see how that plays out then when she gets
Yeah.
back, because
So
obviously
did she
has
find
a
out
lot of
about
feeling.
a forgotten kindred and then went and
I
got
wouldn't put
herself
it
pregnant
past her. I wouldn't put
so
it
that
past her.
so that her child could be the difference in this war and take back what the Descended have done? Like, try to get one on their side, essentially, by having a daughter that has those kinds of powers?
That
Maybe.
or she got with this guy and it ended horrifically, and then that's what stemmed this lifelong now revenge of
Yeah.
But
Because
she
I don't know.
She was only gone for a year, so she couldn't have been with him for very long, and she came back with
a baby.
not a
baby.
newborn baby, but like a few month old baby or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Because she had the baby
that
there.
Yep.
And she went on a mission because
Mhm.
she was
A
with the
secret
Amarian
mission.
military. Yeah, Amarian military who's supposed to fight for
Is
both
it her
mortals.
baby? Is she actually her mom?
Oh shoot!
I feel like
I feel
I
like
think she is. I
I think
get
she
the vibe
is.
she is, but like
yes.
just because of how short of a time it was, like she gotta get on it.
Well,
Like,
I
that's
think
why I feel like
so.
that was her purpose, unless they
Yeah.
were using her as a mortal the way that they use mortals for
Mhm.
experiments to try to
yeah,
create a new Descended.
and she got
Or,
away.
or maybe
Ugh,
because
I don't
she's the
know. I
best
need to
healer
know
there
more
is.
about her mom.
I know, maybe because she's the
There
best healer there is, they sent her down over there to help heal this kindred, and it became a thing,
A baby.
and then a baby
obvious
then happened.
obviously didn't end well.
But also, okay, so I'm just gonna skip things because that's what we're doing. So you know how King Ulther
Ulther?
made that rule that no one in Lumnos was allowed to have a baby with another Descended because we're gonna water down the
Mortal.
powers. Yes,
Yeah,
sorry.
mortals
Yeah.
and Descended.
Do you think he enacted that law because there was a prophecy? Because he's been told that he's like, they've been telling me, I've been waiting for you. So do you think that he made this rule to prevent her birth?
Because there was a prophecy that there
Yes.
would be a mortal and yes, that's a good point.
That
That's
was
Here's
a
what I
the
was
really
gonna
good
problem
write
with
point.
down.
that. And this is
Mhm.
what kills me. Every time there's a prophecy like that, they end up doing things that lead to it happening.
I know.
Yep.
They're like, we're trying to stop this. And I'm like, exactly what you're doing is why it happened.
Mhm.
You're welcome. Like, this
Mhm.
did nothing.
Because
Um,
that enraged Arlie,
yep.
or she had some feelings about it because she was probably watching the military kill these innocent babies all the time, and as a healer, she would not be able
I know.
to.
I really don't love that. That makes me feel very
No.
icky.
But obviously
No,
she
that
felt
whole
safe enough. She felt safe enough to bring her baby over because her baby was born with brown eyes. And
Mhm.
so I feel like that's the only way she was going to be able to bring Diem over.
That's why I don't think she was like a newborn. I feel like she was a month or two. Well, maybe she was only a month or two old because her and Andre were only courting for a month.
Yeah,
Like,
but
she
I don't
got
think.
back and they were courting for a month.
Yeah,
So we were only a few months old.
yeah, and she already had the baby when she came back. So,
We were young enough that people could believe it was his.
yeah. Anyway, so Diem and
Sorry.
Henry have sex. Meh.
Wah,
It
wah.
was it was
Meh.
fine. I just don't like him, so
was
I
fine.
wasn't into it.
It's
But
hard to
Diem,
be like, yay.
I
When you don't
know,
like them.
especially when that's what his whole purpose of this trip was just to get in her pants because she doesn't wear dresses.
You know.
So Diem has this nightmare that she just has over and over of her last memory of her mom, but now that she knows who the shadow figure is, or as Kayla already coined him as the shadow daddy of this book, it was Prince Luther. So now she
Yep.
just
Mhm.
sees him all the time in there, and
Mhm.
it's got to like that was her missing piece. So I can only imagine how frustrated she is because now she knows who this is, and where does she go from there, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
mean,
and
and
then
how do you get access to him? He's the Prince of Lumnos.
and
You're
he's
not
so
allowed in
powerful.
Lumnos City.
Mm-hmm.
How are you gonna get
Yeah.
access to him? You know, so
Yeah.
that makes it
Oh,
hard too.
and then, okay, the wolf attack that happened when her and Henry were sleeping outside, and then her hands start to glow and her body tingles, and then her voice inside of her head saying "fight and destroy." Didn't the wolf like
Mhm.
attack her, and then all of a sudden it was just gone? Like that's the disintegrating,
She
disappears into
closed her
ash.
eyes as it leapt at her, and it disappeared, aka it shattered into a million little
With
ashy pieces, I think.
ashes coming
Mhm.
down. She
Yeah.
literally obliterated it.
Yep.
Correct.
So is that
And then
the?
thought she hallucinated it.
She's like,
So
"Oh
that's
no, another
why.
hallucination." I'm like,
I
"What?
literally cannot recall if
Girl,
her
you got your
hallucination.
head in the sand."
So that's why I
Big
thought it
time.
was the light that did the obliterating, because I felt like it was like so powerful that it just basically blew him to smithereens or
Could
disintegrated
have been.
him.
'Cause I do feel like
So
she talked about light. She talked about light at her hand, but
yeah, because it said her
she
hands
closed
were
I
her
just wonder
glowing.
if
eyes, so
she glows when she does magic, period.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, or at least
But
her
she closed
hand
her eyes,
glows.
so
yeah, it's just her accessing her magic is
yeah.
kind of more how I interpreted that, but
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see what she
Yeah.
all has.
Yeah, and then Henry like poo poos it away, like, "Oh no, no, he was sleeping the whole time." He's like, "No, no, it was just you were just dreaming. You're fine."
Except
Like,
for
No, he
he says there definitely was a wolf. It just ran
I was gonna
off
say
because he
he
says, "I heard it. It woke me up."
yeah.
but
I
she
was gonna
probably
say
scared it away. That's right.
Yeah.
yes.
That she wasn't dreaming, and that she scared it away because he did also hear the wolf, because
Correct.
she was trying to convince herself that it was a dream.
Yes.
That's right, and that
Yep.
she was
Yes.
just overworked and that her brain finally
Yeah.
snapped.
Well,
But
No.
and that's when she starts to panic about not taking her powder,
Flame.
flame
right?
Yeah.
She's
root.
Her
like,
flame
"Oh
root.
shit. I should really start taking that again."
Yeah.
Yeah, because she's
Whoa,
like
whoa.
something similar to this has happened to her before, I think, when she was starting to
Yes.
have her visions or
Yep.
whatever.
Powers.
Oh,
Yes.
and then this is when she sees, because Henry's naked, obviously they just had sex or whatever a few hours later. She sees his Everflame tattoo on his back.
Yep.
Yes.
And
Sure
she's like, "What the
does.
fuck is that?" Because you could die from the Descended. The Descended will kill you if they see this on you.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh,
It's
it's
like an
fine.
act
I'm
of
just."
treason.
Yeah, I hate him. I don't like him.
See, and this is where I wonder if she's from the old gods then a little bit too, because all of the titles have Everflame in them. There's got to be some significance with the Everflame tree and the old gods and all of
Yeah.
that. So I'm curious what's going to come of that, because obviously, as we are assuming, her mom's involved with that rebellion as well. There's something to this Everflame tree, and
Yeah.
I have so many questions.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And the thing is, you're right. The old gods are probably the kindred, like the original kindred, and that's who we're praying to. And it's really just the descendants of them, the descended, who the rebellion is against. So they liked the idea of having the old gods initially, but
No,
I
because
thought the old gods
it's
were
it's blasphemy to even talk about the old gods. They are
yes.
so
completely separate from the kindred. They treat the kindred
oh,
as their gods, and if you talk about the old gods, you can literally be put to death for even speaking about their original
mm,
gods.
I don't
So
know
when
who they
she
are
does
then.
like the prayers and all of that, they don't
Yeah.
say who they are yet. But when she does those prayers and whatnot, it's like blasphemy.
Gosh
Yeah,
darn it.
which is why I just ponder if there's something from them also going on.
Yeah. Who knows?
Hmm.
I have so many questions.
Ooh,
I
ooh.
Not
mean,
enough
So
answers.
as they cross the border on their little horses, I think,
Mhm.
through Fortos, this is when Diem feels this painful current shot through her body as she crosses the border from Luminos to
yeah, it
Fortos.
shocks the shit out of her.
Yes,
Yep.
and it's called the Terramir. I think that's what the magic thing is called. Like they said that the descendants have this thing called the Terramir, and that's where it kind of tethers
Yeah.
their magic to their realm. So I'm just like, oh, since we're in
Hmm.
Fortos, is she feeling her Terramir in here now? That like that's why it
One
hurts
way or
so
the
bad?
other. It's either she lost all her magic in that zap or gained magic, more magic in that zap.
Yeah, I think
Or
she gained it in that zap, and or she connected to that magic, because again, we're thinking she has all of them.
yeah.
So she's connected to her magic from there more
Hmm.
intensely now that she crossed the border.
Yeah, maybe she has to cross every border in order to, like
Really unleash that power.
yeah,
Ooh,
like,
she's got a
bring that
long
power.
journey.
That would suck, knowing that you have to get, like, electrocuted every freaking time just to get your power. But, I
I
mean,
mean,
at
it
the
didn't
end, when
seem
she
that
really does get
crazy.
her power,
Yeah.
it's super painful.
But
She's
this is the
screaming.
but this is the first time that she's ever felt this before, and she's been through this border several times. But is it because she had the flame root that was
Flame rope.
like
Correct. The flame root was
suppressing her
definitely
magic?
stifling it.
Oh my gosh!
Because she always said she felt dulled before, like,
Yep.
all
Yes,
of
like an
her emotions,
antidepressant.
everything.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yes.
You just walk around in a cloud.
Honestly.
I mean, it's what it is. But she goes to the pharmacy because she's trying to restock for their healing center, and there she sees the flame root, and she's like,
Mhm.
"Ooh, can I have some of that?" And the person who runs the pharmacy is like, what do you know about this? You can't know
She,
about
like,
Uh-huh.
this."
freaks out.
Yeah. Like, not in like a like panic, like she's like all of a sudden like
Ready to
suspicious and ready to kick her out,
Yes.
and you
Ready
shouldn't.
Report
to
her ass
report
and
her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes.
Where at first she was
I
being
think
so
it's
nice,
because
anything for Orly's daughter. Yeah.
I think
Mhm.
it's because this is obviously the probably the only substance
Mhm.
that can weaken
Mhm.
a descended. And so, of course, they don't want that out and around because if they get exposed to it, they're going to lose all their magic. And if you think
Uh-huh.
about it, it's called flame root. So it's
Ooh, from the
probably
Everflame
made
tree?
from the Everflame trees because they burned all of
Ooh.
those trees. There's a reason why they probably burned all of those trees because they had a
Mm.
certain kind of magic in them to
Stifle the
nullify
power of the
descended
Yeah.
powers. Yeah.
Yeah, and only the King of
oh,
Fortunes can unlock
shit.
it, but only with the permission of all the other 9 realms to have
I
possession
know.
of it.
How I wanna know how she was getting so much of it.
Yeah.
Well, well, maybe she had so much of it because she was on that island that no one else had ever been to, and so she stockpiled a shit ton of it.
Or maybe she just goes
Yeah,
there
like, there were
frequently.
still trees there or something to be
Yeah.
able to make her own. Because there's no way she was getting that level of permission from all of that. Like,
No.
No,
with
that lady
the
was
sheer
ready to freak
volume.
out. She was like, "What is your
I
mom
know,
involved in?"
I know.
Seriously, seriously. Diem and Henry go to, like, some place to stay the night because 'cause they're not gonna sleep outside, like an inn or something. So we meet Breck, and he's kind of funny. From what I remember, I liked him. He's a bladesmith from the Marian army, and he knows all about Andre and Arlie, like, they're basically world renowned in their fields, and he actually made Arlie
Yeah.
a blade once, and that also kinda
Mhm.
surprised Diem because she what?
Is
What?
that the blade that she used to kill
No.
Diem's father?
Maybe.
That could be fun.
Maybe.
A fun revelation.
Just
I
saying.
mean, yeah.
But he did say, Breck did say after he notices her eyes, he's like, not even the descendants have eyes like yours. So he even notices that there's something different where
Yes.
everyone just assumes, oh, your eyes aren't brown, so you must be a descendant. And she's like, oh
Yep.
no, I just
And
lost
he's
it.
like, "Nobody has that color."
But maybe because he works for the army, he's exposed to all
Yes.
kinds of
Yep.
descendants. He would notice
True,
something
true.
like that. But also Andre would notice something like this too, right? Because he was like the captain, the
I think
capitan,
Andre
the
knows.
commander. I
Andre
know.
knows more than she's let on.
He's way too intense about her flame root stuff. I don't think he knows everything, but I think he knows enough to know that it's important.
Oh my
Correct.
gosh. But Breck ends up giving DM a Fortisan steel blade, which is the only substance that can
Mhm.
pierce descended skin, and it costs like a small fortune. It's really, really expensive. And I hate that she has to return like the gift in a future favor, and anything like that to be like collected at any time in the future.
I
I hate those kind of trades.
They always come back to bite you in the fucking ass every goddamn time.
And
But
I'm
which
not
is sad because I do like his character.
I do too, and I just I don't love it. It makes me I'm
I know.
at least he's mortal, so that it's not like he doesn't like not like he has superpowers or some descended power that can like hurt her like that. Not that it's any better, but still
Yeah.
I don't love it.
No.
No.
Anyways, so they're all three of them are having dinner and Diem goes upstairs and she's ready for bed and she's waiting for Henry. She doesn't really wait. She goes to bed because that's just what we do. Anyways, and he still hasn't come down. She finds him back at the tavern that they were at, huddled around this table with several other men, including Breck still, and they're talking about the rebellion. They don't know that she's there, and all of them have the Everflame tattoos. So
Mhm.
this has to be the rebellion, right? And she's
Yeah.
pissed off. She's so mad because
So mad.
she's so
Because
mad
he
at him.
lied to her about why he had it, the
Yes,
tattoo. Like,
because he said
Mhm.
it was not to it was to honor the old gods, but no, this is clearly about the rebellion. This is your tattoo, your I'm part of the club, special teams,
uh-huh.
special teams club.
Mhm.
And she's so mad at him and there's lots
Mhm.
of
Yeah, she wants to hurt him.
like yes,
Physically
physically
hurt him.
and emotionally. She wants
Correct.
to fucking wreck
Yes.
him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um
because she pretty much is like, go away, or
Her
you can tell
she can't
that
handle
that's where
her
she's at.
anger at that moment. Her
yes.
emotions
And he picks up
definitely
on that.
are heightened.
And this is
Yes.
like another moment that shows her strength because she said she pushed him lightly and he actually stumbled back, surprised because
Mhm.
of how hard the push actually was instead of just like a little tap kind of
Yeah.
Because
thing.
she's strong.
Because she's strong. She descended strong. She
Mhm.
kindred strong. I guess after all of this, Henry finally talks about what happened and what made him turn to the rebellion. And he saw a
Mhm.
kid that died, was trampled by a descendant on a horse that was going too fast, and he didn't even care. He just kept going. And so Henry picked up that kid. This was like the only nice thing that I liked about him.
His redeeming
His
quality.
one redeeming quality is he took that kid from village to village and tried to find out who this kid belonged to, could not find this kid's home, and buried him in their family home, their yard. And he's like, I'm just keeping him there until I can find him his home, and then I could return his bones to his family. I'm like, oh. And that happened like a year ago. So that whatever happened then was it.
I think once again, this goes down to a Dane and a Gale. They are good people in their core that get caught up in a
The hype.
bad thing and make bad decisions
Mm-hmm.
because
Well,
of
and like,
and their
it's not like they don't
circumstances
have
affect that.
reason for it. Correct. Like,
Yes.
their background helped create that. Like, the
Yes.
fact his mom died, and the fact this, like, there was just all these things leading to him
Yeah.
finally being like, I'm done with this. I'm fucking doing something about it.
Yep.
And I can respect that. They don't really go about it a great way, as we find out later. So,
Yeah. Because
No,
I
they
mean,
don't.
Diem is the same exact way.
Mm-hmm.
yes, for sure.
But she's
So
feisty and not a pushover, so I like her better.
agreed. Agreed.
Anyway, so we find out the rebels are called Guardians of the Everflame. But it's the same name from the rebellion from the Blood War, all those
Mhm.
Yeah.
centuries back. And it's run by a woman, like we said, and we think it's Orly. And Henry tries to recruit Diem. Because, why not invite the love of your life into something that's dangerous and could potentially get her killed and stuff like that. But Diem
I know.
considers it. She wants to do something, but only if Teller never gets involved. Because maybe that's why she agreed to it, because she just didn't want Henry to try to recruit her brother to it
No,
too.
she
I think,
wants to be a part of it. Once she becomes a
yeah.
part, she wants it because she's also after revenge.
Sh-
Yeah.
yes. Not was she after revenge then?
No, at
It takes a
this
little more
point,
time.
she's kind of like, yeah, we've had a lot of injustices. I'll think
Yes.
about it. Like, she sees why at
Uh-huh.
this point, but it takes her getting mad and being exposed,
To
just like
solidify that.
Henry, honestly,
Yeah.
to something horrible to be like, F these people, let's take them down.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it comes up, right? An event occurs here in the next couple chapters. I feel like that
Yeah.
really pushes her to decide that,
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm, mhm.
which we'll get there.
Um, so some time has passed, and in this time, like 2 weeks later, in the 2 weeks, Diem tells Mara that she's taking over her mom's duty in the palace. End of story. She
Mhm.
doesn't wanna hear it. She finally gets a hold of her mom's notes that she was never privy to. I don't know how she got them if Mara was really hesitant to let her do it. But the notes, potions, all the powders, Mara actually starts tutoring her on how to take care of the
Mhm.
descendant. And then she finds out it's not much different than like the mortals. You just kind of heal the boo boo and then they do the rest. Or I guess we just die more
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
and then there was this mention of a godstone. Do you guys remember like this thing that was made only by the kindred that's harmless to humans but lethal to descended without an antidote? And I think that's the only
Mhm.
time they mentioned it because I don't think it ever
Mhm.
came
Mhm.
back up in the book. But I feel like this is going to be important later on.
Yeah,
Correct.
totally. Agreed. I forgot about that part actually, but I do
Yes,
feel like that's gotta be important.
it has to be because
When she doesn't end up sharing that with any of the rebellion, because I remember that being because she was so hesitant, obviously, to cross her vow on
Mhm.
actually hurting anyone.
Yeah.
So, thankfully, she never actually shares that fact with anyone, but I do think it's gonna become very relevant later.
so, with all of this tutoring that Mara has been doing with her, they have their first case together at the palace and they actually go through the front door, not the side door or hole in the wall. And this is their first
Yes.
interaction with Soray, the
Uh-huh.
Gwyvern.
Love when there's a creature,
Well,
especially
and, like,
when it's, like, fluffy, but also, like, big teeth and talons and can
giant.
really murder you, but, like, I'm excited
Um,
about her.
for sure, that's gonna end up being her
Oh, for
not pet. That's
sure.
a very terrible way of putting that, but they just seemed like they were every interaction they had
She
was like
reacted to
them
her big
bonding.
time, like,
Yes,
Especially
immediately.
yes.
when they say that she's usually uninterested in anything because they could she can or their species or whatever can
Mhm.
kind of like feel what everyone's intentions are. So whenever they try to
Intentions, yeah.
do like practice battle things, she's like, they're not gonna hurt me for real. So I don't even care. But that's the most they've gotten from her. Any kind of
I'm
reaction
so excited.
in such a
Which is
long time.
wild because her intentions are not good going into the palace. Most the time she goes into the palace, she doesn't have great intentions.
No, but she doesn't have hurtful intentions. She's not going in there to
No.
hurt
Correct.
anyone. She's just trying to
Yep.
spy. She's just looking
So,
for
like,
Correct.
information.
Sora gets a little riled up when she's there, and it's like, are you riled up because you're unsure what I'm gonna do? Or are you riled up because you can sense that you're my person?
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. Maybe it's all of
Ah,
it. I know. I
I love
I cannot wait to see their relationship evolve if there is one later
yes.
on.
Yes,
Um,
for sure.
but we finally learn about the Gryvern. I can't even say it right. Anyway, that every kindred brought one to the mortal world as a
Mhm.
companion and a guardian, and that at forging day, like when they had done the first one, they became bound eternally to the crown to each realm. And I
Mhm.
think they look so cool. I kind of want to look up some fan art on
I
what
was
they
gonna
look
say, I
like
wanna look up
Yeah.
what they
because
look
they
like
have a
because
sea
I can't
dragon
picture
head.
it.
No, they have a sea dragon head, talons and
Yep.
wings of an eagle, and a body of a lion. That thing would scare the shit out of me.
Oh,
I'm here for it.
here's Sore right here.
Oh, so
Oh,
cool.
that's awesome. That's
That's
cool.
badass.
Um,
Wild.
but
I'm into
out
it.
of all of the ones that were brought over, only 7 of them remained because a couple of them got killed in the blood war. So
I know, so
So sad.
sad.
after they get past or no, they're still dealing with sorry, but there's guards at the gate. Oh, but at the gate. It's cool that the front of the castle is made of, like, shadows. Like, the back of the castle is light, the front of the castle is shadow, so it's, like,
Mhm.
more it's like
Yeah.
it kind of reminds me of the Beauty and the Beast, like, castle
Yeah.
where,
Yes.
like, it's dark and like you're just afraid of it, and it's
Scary and intimidating looking,
yeah.
and
Yep.
And then the
and
light
inside
comes
it's
and
not
it's
so bad. Yeah.
yeah. So I thought that was cool. But anyways, these guards at the gate are douchebags or condescending, even to
They're
Mara,
all
even though
like really douchey guards. Like,
they're
come on, Luther, get your shit together,
and
bud.
they're gross, right? They're really gropey
Yeah.
and tries to
Very
remove her
rapey
weapon.
vibes.
Yeah, I didn't like it, or at least very
But I
kind of
loved
vibes.
her
That's
reaction
salty.
to
Oh
them,
my god, I
though.
know. She puts him in his place real quick and like holds him there, and he's
She egged them
surprised.
on so hard. She's like, bring it
Mhm.
on, bud. Let's go.
Yeah, but that guard was
Uh-huh.
surprised that she was able to put him in his place and like hold
Yes.
him there because there's no way, and she's still not connecting that piece that you can't
I
hold a
know.
descended.
She's refusing to. No.
Denial's
She's
real
never
hard
seen
here.
them in action. She's never seen how strong they are. She's never seen their magic in action until right after this moment. So she doesn't understand. They can say increased strength, but she doesn't understand
What
the
that means.
The
degree
level of
Yeah.
yeah, true.
and how abnormal all this is.
So Luther comes and he punishes the guard.
He shadow
And
daddies them.
he sure does. He
Sure does.
uses his magic powers of shadow wielding and punishes the guard real good.
Shadow daddying.
And Diem likes it.
She does like it,
I
but
liked it.
he
Yeah.
allows Diem to carry her knife with her and
Mhm.
or her blades and says, don't use them, or else what happened to him is going to be so much kinder than what's really going to happen to you. And
Mhm.
Mhm.
she's like, okay. I mean, yes, she's a little scared, but whatever. She carries her blades.
Yeah.
She doesn't plan on using them, so it's not like a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, so Luther walks her through the palace, her and Mara, and they are just basically checking up on the 3 kids that got hurt, or at least 2 of them, because
Mhm.
there's 2 little ones, and those moms in their big floofy dresses, and the kids are just playing, and all they're trying to do is flirt with Luther, and he's like, "Hi, cousin," and I'm like, "Ew."
'Cause it's all incestual.
Mhm.
I mean, they're all technically cousins. Yes, they're all technically cousins because we all came from something in the beginning, and yeah, we're all related somehow. But I'm like, how closely related are we here? How many branches off this tree are we?
Didn't feel like enough.
No. Uh-uh.
No, but they didn't even care. They just were more interested in him, and the fact that he paid more attention to Diem than he paid to them. They were offended.
He gets all up in her business.
He
He
did.
gets real close to her.
So this is when he tells her, like, I was looking for you in Mortal City to tell you, like, thank you. And she's like, no, fuck you. No, you weren't. You weren't there to check on me or to thank me or anything like that. You were just actually just
Mm-mm.
wanting to see if I was really human. Do I need to bleed for
Mhm.
you? And I was like, damn, girl. That's
I
a
know, she's
lot.
like, "I'll cut myself right now," and I was like, "Girl, you're gonna have quite the revelation if you try to cut yourself right now."
Honestly, so true.
I was like, "Please cut yourself. Please. Finally come to terms with what's going on with your body."
But isn't this where he grips the blade and like basically squeezes it so hard that he should be bleeding, but he doesn't?
I know. The things he does is, like, weirdly hot in a way it
In
shouldn't
a
be. I was
weird
like,
way.
"Why is this attractive? Like, this feels weird."
Anyway,
I
so
was
she's
into
like,
it from the very start.
from the very
I know.
beginning. So she's like, do I need to bleed to win you over? And he says, I think it's safe to say you've already won me over. And I'm
I
like,
know,
oh,
his
Tim,
lines.
it's getting hot. And,
Mhm.
of course, she's just like, whatever. But she's feeling things, you
Yep.
guys. I know she's feeling things. She's starting to be feeling things.
Duh.
Hmm.
How can you
Mhm.
not be attracted to Shadow Daddy?
I don't know. He's got that big scar over his mouth and his neck. So
I think
maybe,
it goes all the way under his shirt.
yeah, something happened when he
Yeah.
was young because he should not be having
I
Yeah.
scars
know.
like that did not heal.
No.
I
So something
know.
terrible happened. And I'm kind
For
of
sure.
curious what happened. I'm curious to hear what that story
Maybe
is.
that's how he knows orally.
That'd be
But I
Maybe
mean,
he
he'd have
met
to be
her when
so
he was little.
young. Yeah. Maybe.
I don't know how old he is, you know.
I feel like he's old.
They
Yeah.
haven't said how old he is.
No, they haven't. Hmm.
No.
Hmm. Anyways, so I love this because after the whole castle thing, Diem's just all pissed off. Just her voice inside her was like just telling her to fight. And anyway, so then her and Andre spar for the first time that we get to see. And I thought it was so cool because you can just, I could, I could picture this in my head, just like the practice
Mhm.
motions and everything's like the same.
Mhm.
And, but they're like, it's hard to like one up somebody who already knows all your moves. And I thought that was so cool. I thought it
Mhm.
was so
Mhm.
cool. But this is also
Yeah.
the first time that she tell her that no matter what, she'll always support him in his choices, and she's talking about Lily.
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 Mhm.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering, like, why did she say that? Like, what? I don't remember what happened
She
besides the castle
says
stuff.
she kinda starts bringing up Lily a little bit more and kinda goading him, like, "I can tell you
Yeah.
like her, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah." And then she's like, "I just want you to know, like, I will support you regardless of whatever your
Mhm.
choice is, and I won't tell
Well, and of
anyone."
course, she's met Lily and sees how sweet she is
I
too.
know.
Like, how could you not love her?
I know.
She's so sweet.
Yeah.
I like
Because
Lily.
I mean, they were there checking on the other patients when they went
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
time. They weren't checking on Lily, but
Yeah.
Is this where Lily had come and was just like, "Oh, can you come over?" Or was that in another?
mm-mm.
I
That was
think
a
it
little bit later.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it comes up still.
But I
Yeah.
still think she's very sweet. Anyway, so we move
She's
over on, and it was one of the last patients of the day. Diem had to go to Paradise Row, and it was a body service worker who ended up getting beaten pretty badly by somebody. And the madame that,
client.
yes, the the person who overwatches all the other service workers was like, "We took care of them. That's not who you're seeing." They're like, "But she's got there's a lot of things here. There's gotta be another person." They're like, "No, no, it's just her, because they fucking
I
took care
know
of it."
her having that revelation later, like, "Oh, I understand what they mean now." Especially when she finally sees the girl and just how bad it was. She was like, I think she kind of commended them in that moment. She was like, "All right, I see what you did. I
Yeah.
won't ask
Oh,
questions.
yeah, which
I
is why
respect it."
she doesn't take the money and is like, "I think the person who needed to
Mhm.
pay already got theirs, so I think you're
Yeah.
good."
I know.
I
Ugh,
I know, but they don't
I
like
know.
to, again, it's the whole everything comes with a cost, and they don't like to be indebted to anybody. But that madam offered her a job there, saying that she'd make so much money because of her eyes and her hair, and that it's actually
Mhm.
surprising how many mortal men want the service workers to pretend that they're descendants,
Mhm.
Yep.
even
Of course they
though
do.
the mortals don't like the descended. So they also have their
It's
fantasies.
a power thing.
It's a
It's a
power
power
thing.
thing.
But she turns it down. She does not. That's just not where she sees herself, but
She
she'd
has
make a killing.
a very good respect for sex
Yes,
workers,
which I
though.
appreciate. Mhm.
Mhm. She's not,
She
like,
does.
degrading to them at all. She's like,
No.
"Hey, it's an honest." She considers it. She's like, "I could do that, like, maybe it'd be kind of fun." She talks about that a few different times, but then she's like, "Nah, that's not for me."
Yeah,
Yeah.
but as she's leaving, there's a scream in the alley, and this is when, like, she decides that,
Shit.
"Fuck the Descended. I'm gonna
Yep.
join the rebellion," because lo and behold, it's that lady who saved her all those months ago. Not saved her, but, like,
Mhm.
helped her escape from
Yeah.
those bullies. And she has a baby. She has a son, a half descended, half mortal son, and the father of the
4-year-old, I was
son.
like,
I know he's
Yeah.
come to make sure the law has been held and has come to kill his offspring. And he's so angry that she's kept the secret from him, and the fact that he has to come down to Paradise Row to take care of this. And this scene was just so heartbreaking for me to experience because
yeah.
she really does.
It's a boy.
I know, and he's just sad. He's no idea what's happening. His mom is hurt and screaming,
No.
and this other
And
man is
that's not Like, he didn't choose that. Like,
I know.
fuck you.
No, no one chooses who their parents are. Like,
It made me so mad. And she's trying so hard to figure out something for this boy. And then, of course, obviously,
I
he
know.
does
When the
die.
mom was just like, I don't
But
care about me.
yeah,
Save my son. I just don't care. Whatever." And
I
then
know.
I don't know what kind of shadow wielding power he had, but
well,
Yeah, no, it
yeah, he had strong shadow wielding because he was making them into dart like little
yeah,
piercing that pierced both of their
yeah.
skin. So it was like
yeah.
making little bullets essentially that were like I pictured thorns,
Yeah, that's what I
big
pictured too.
thorns.
Yeah.
It was just sad. Yeah, I mean, killed both of them. She couldn't do anything about it. She
And there
was
wasn't
like
like fast
locked.
killing. It wasn't
No.
Mm-mm.
fast.
No,
Mm-mm.
it was like it made it seem like they like slowly sunk into their skin.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then when she's stuck behind those bars and she tries using the knife and it
Cuts him.
does cut him,
But he heals
but
so fast.
he heals super fast. I feel like obviously he gets away because she yells fire and everyone comes out. So now that he has an audience, he's going to come back into play because he
Oh
remembers her
yeah.
face.
He looked at her
The
real
fact
good.
that he got away and he was like, "You're going to get yours," kind of. And I just get the feeling
Mm.
he's someone powerful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like one of the 20 families or something. He's going to be
Especially as
someone
she comes into
significant.
her crown, I think he's gonna be a major,
Oh yeah, that's right, because he just
threat
got
to
into
that.
like the 20 or whatever, right? There's like 20
Oh,
prestigious
yeah, he
families.
did say that. My family just got into the
Mhm.
20, like, "You're not gonna stop us."
Yeah.
I feel like so he's definitely gonna get to know her when she has the crown,
Yep.
Yep.
but there's gonna be a lot of backlash when she gets the crown, and
Big time.
he'll probably be the one leading the rebellion against her. Like,
For
Ugh.
sure.
the other rebellion, the
Yeah.
Yes.
internal
Yeah.
rebellion.
Yes.
Man, oh my gosh. But the funny thing is, I I remember this from like I think it was Dare, the Dare program that like if you're ever being attacked by someone, don't yell rape, yell fire. And so
Fire.
I
Mhm.
love that this was in here because when you want help,
I know.
did you know
Yell
this?
fire because people actually come for that.
They
Mhm.
do. And so I kind
Mhm.
of like
No,
that it was in there.
I feel like my mom's always told me or someone told me that, like, I've always thought
Hmm.
to yell fire if anything ever happened to me and not yell anything else.
Yeah.
I was
Because
never told that.
I
Okay.
Now
have
I
been told
know.
that.
No, and I told
No, I have
Ariana
been
this
told that
growing up
because
too.
yeah, because they say, like, you yell rape, no one actually wants to come and help you because 'cause they're scared of that, but if you yell fire, people
Yeah.
are intrigued by that and they'll actually come and help.
They all want to
Yeah.
be, goosenecking and seeing what's happening. We're all nosy
Yep.
people
Yeah.
and we'll come see
Correct, so
that.
you'll at least get an audience,
Yeah. Because I remember I'd go
which
tickle
is
or try to go
that's
tickle
cute.
Ariana when she was little, and she was always like, "Fire!" Because she's trying to get someone else
Mhm.
to help her.
Ah,
I'm like,
that's cute.
calm
I
That's
down.
like
funny.
that.
So,
You're like, "No, no, don't use it right now."
right before this guy tries to end her or whatever, she starts to pray to the old gods again because she's about to die. And what else she's supposed to do? And I'm curious if all those townspeople didn't actually come, what other like power would she have manifested? Oh yeah, she got like her tingling senses, and then there was a bright glowy light again. What? Anyways, so yeah, she's
He
very
missed
interesting.
hitting her
She kept
twice,
missing, so I feel like she
and
was,
so I think it
like,
was that.
eliminating his
Yeah,
shadows.
that's what I think was it. Yeah,
Yeah.
or
Mm.
blocking or something.
Yeah, he kept being like, how
How are
am I
you doing
missing?" kinda
this?
thing.
Yeah, because
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then in all of that,
But, I mean,
the
this
mom's
was the
dead.
catalyst for her.
Yes, the mom's dead, and
Yeah.
then the boy is dead,
Yep.
and then she
Yeah.
is,
She can't.
and she buries
She
them
goes
in a
and buries
shallow
them.
grave, even though the townspeople didn't want to help them, and even though they got there, no one wanted to help her. So she
I
goes.
know, they were mad there wasn't a fire.
I know, they're like,
Well,
ugh.
she's in Paradise Row. They say people die
Yeah.
there every single day, and everyone just kinda
Yeah.
walks by like it's no biggie. That's why she
Yeah.
yelled fire. But
Yeah.
I mean, she has a level of, like, she can deal with adults dying. She really cannot, like,
With
No.
children.
stand children getting hurt. Obviously, most people are that way, but I think it maybe not necessarily even the mom dying, but the kid dying was it for her. She was
Yes.
so mad, like couldn't contain her
Well,
rage.
and it's just the injustice of the fact it's because this kid was half
Yeah, that's the
descended and half
only
mortal. She
reason.
was like, that's just like, she just thinks that's so stupid, which agreed.
Yeah.
So stupid. And so that's really her main motivator for
Yeah, getting rid of the
finding Henry
progeny
and
law.
telling him we're doing this, bud. I'm joining.
Yeah. Yeah, she cannot handle the progeny law and the fact that like he would have been celebrated for killing that child.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There
Mm-hmm.
would have been no consequence to him. He was upholding the law
Correct.
Yep. Even though he's the
100%.
one who broke it in the first place.
Hmm.
Yep.
I hate this.
But
Yeah.
now she has to prove herself
Now she's got to
to
prove
the
herself.
rebellion.
And she does it in a way that after she finds out and she makes the realization of how this opportunity came about for her, she's also very mad about this because basically the guardians of the Everflame tree or whatever their name is poison a little girl, and give her like terrible
Hmm.
rashes. And yes, yeah, she's a child of like this really powerful arms dealer or weapons
Hmm.
dealer, Evram Benit is what I want to call him because it's two T's. Bennett. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, oh, he's the one of 20. Maybe it's the other one.
I
I don't
think
know.
they
When he
both
was an
are.
Maybe
asshole.
they both
I
are.
think they
But
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? Maybe that other guy was part of the Bennett family also, because it's just their family name.
yes, because the little boy's like, "What house are you from?" or "Where are you from?"
Yeah,
And
what
that means
Yeah, he was
something
like
super fixated on that.
family
Oh,
houses are what's important.
because they
honestly,
mistake
the
her for a
way
descendant.
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, and she plays into it.
Yeah,
Yep.
because how else are we going to gain her trust and how else are we going to get the information that we're supposed to need to prove that I'm
Mhm.
loyal to this guardian bullshit? It was so sad that the mom was so busy she couldn't stay with her ill child. She had to go have a tea someplace else. And dad was too like busy on a phone call to pay attention to her. So he just like,
To this 5-year-old, like what?
yeah.
And
So sad
the fact that the little boy was such an asshole, like at
already.
9, 10 years old, whatever he was, is kind of how I pictured him. But so rude and
Mhm.
like
Mhm.
such a sense of entitlement already. Obviously, being brought up in his dad's image, and that's the
Yes.
way that his dad talks to him
Mhm.
99% of the time. It was so sad.
So
It was
sad.
so sad, for sure. But I again, Diem doesn't care where you're from, who you're like, she'll take care of you. And she did such a good job
Mhm.
trying to ease her
I
discomfort. And she even got like the
know.
asshole little boy to be nice
Mhm.
to his
To help a
sister.
little bit.
Yeah. And I'm like, God, you're such a good
I know.
person. I know this
I know,
voice
but
I
inside your
know. She
head.
really
she ballsy.
Yeah.
That girl don't
yeah.
she does not have fear, I swear. The fact that she like I was thinking, overhear some conversations, whatever. Not go
No,
into
The
his
office.
Ephraim's
office,
office and start pulling out papers and like not even that.
rewriting them.
She's like writing down his ledgers. I was like,
Uh-huh.
oh, I was
I'm surprised she
nervous
didn't
that
just
whole
rip a
time. I was
page
Well,
out
because
of
so
that's
it.
nervous.
not quick. No, because she didn't want to get caught. And of course, I'm thinking nowadays you could be like, click, 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 click. There's nothing quick about writing a whole
No.
goddamn page. Like, and
No.
she got multiple pages. She was in there for a while.
Yeah. She's
Yeah.
smart though. She's super smart.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. Very much so.
The way she goes
Um,
about several of these missions, I'm like smart and then also sometimes
Wildly
way too
dumb.
bullheaded where you're just like, God, you're what?
Stop it.
yeah. She's just not
Have some
cautious
sense
enough.
of
There's
like
no, yeah.
Oh my God, I cannot say preservation. There we go.
Yes. No self-preservation
You got
whatsoever.
it.
I wanted to say preversation. That's what kept trying to
We'll
come
just
out of my
add that
mouth.
to our
Yeah.
words of, Domed and
That I can't say.
all
Yeah.
other things that we say or said
I
incorrectly.
promise.
Anyway, it was a death shade flower that a human had given to this little girl. And if she would have eaten it, she would have
Mhm.
died.
She figures it out while she's in there that this was definitely like pretty sure this was orchestrated by
Oh
the
yeah.
Guardians. She has a hunch, and then
Yep.
Henry plays it off like he didn't know.
Uh-huh.
I
But
know.
he
Initially.
obviously did because he's an asshole. But
Uh-huh.
Yeah, like, he didn't
anyway,
know
I mean,
exactly what they were gonna do, but he knew they were gonna do something to give her this opportunity, but he was fine with it. He's like, "Whatever, what's one kid? What's one kid in all of this?"
when thousands of ours are being murdered every day, like,
Mm,
yes,
I
I get
know.
that, but every single life
yeah.
matters.
Yeah.
Just because they're doing all these atrocities doesn't make us rebounding and doing the same thing. Doesn't make
Mhm.
us any better. You're just stooping
Exactly.
to their level.
Mhm. But, so after she somehow makes it out of that house because she was almost nearly caught and she had to go into the kitchen, and they had to throw away all the food because she was in their presence in their kitchen. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That was wild. Anyways, so she finally makes it out of the house, and Henry is so proud of her because no one's ever completed a mission before in their like in their interview thing. And I was like, "You
And
set
she's
her
like, "What the hell was I doing then?"
you could have almost killed I could have died in there. What do you mean no one's ever?"
I know.
And it wasn't even
She
like
was so
it didn't
mad.
even matter because she still could potentially not be let in or be allowed to be in
Mhm.
this rebellion because of who her mom, or I'm sorry, who her dad
Yes.
was
Who
in
her
the
dad is.
Bad.
yeah. And so she's
Yeah,
like,
because they see him as a sympathizer because of him doing so many things, being a high ranking officer for the Marian army. Like, I think that's wild. Like, okay, Henry, you're going to have me go do this very risky task when you know that they still don't want to let me in?
"Mhm,
What?
mhm."
Mhm.
Especially if you know there's a chance they still won't let me in. Anyway, so they go
I
to the
know.
secret door and they're like, "We're here for the card game. What's the password?" Quiet night tonight, but the trees burn on. I thought that was kind of clever, especially for the
Mhm.
Everflame tree kind of stuff. But the guy at the door is like, "There's no card game here, especially for you, ma'am. You're not coming in," because she's
Mhm.
got that certain look to her face. But eventually, they let her in. But they all knew that she was off limits because she's a Bellator, not just because of who her dad is. She's off limit. Off limits to me means that someone said you can't ever put her in here. So to me, that also said that Orly
Was
was
her
part of
mom
this.
saying
Yeah,
That's true.
because I
That's
feel
true.
like that's a very specific way to say you're not allowed in this club.
correct.
Anyways, so she gets her first assignment because everyone's so impressed with this information that she got. And
One, doesn't Henry volunteer her for it?
Yep.
It's not even
yes,
her.
because they're
He's
what?
like, "She can do this."
Yeah.
Yep.
Douchebag. Again, putting
Asshole.
her life at
Asshole.
risk just for his cause. But isn't it like to go into the palace to find to get, or there's like a
They're trying to
passageway or
find
something
a
like that?
door.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a underground boat passageway, which is how the royals get in and out of the palace, and they want to know if someone can be smuggled in and out of it. I'm like, are you going in and stealing someone? Are you smuggling someone
Mhm.
in? I don't know. I got kidnapping vibes from that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like they would target Lily because they know how important she is to Luther.
Oh, that's right,
Oh, for
because
sure.
they have a map of the palace from all the other times that other people have got, but they just don't
Mhm.
have the basement or something like that, like the lower floor.
And it's not
Yeah.
a good map. They have like very, very minimal. So she
Rough.
also
Yeah.
was mapping out the floor around the king and all of the
Mhm.
guards because no one's ever been that close ever. I mean,
Yeah.
even her dad says later, like, they never let me out of this small little room in the palace. Like, how are you able to move about within the palace? But the whole way she went about this was so dumb. You
I
think that you can
know.
just sprint away from everyone and that you're not going to get followed? Like, I'll just be right back. Everyone's
I
chasing
could
you.
No,
not with
but
that. Like, you're so dumb.
Luther already knew that she was armed, because this is when he starts to
Yes.
pat her
Oh,
body
yeah.
down for the weapons,
Yeah.
and he definitely felt that knife on her
Yes.
ankle
Yeah. Yep.
for
He
sure.
sure does. And because he was patting her down and she was feeling some things.
Yeah,
Yeah, she was.
But
but
also, girl, you dumb.
Yeah, that whole thing
Dumb.
was
I
dumb.
was like, that was
It
the
was
stupidest idea you've ever had. Maybe if she like walked away, one thing, but the fact that she sprints away, I'm like, that is so suspicious.
obvious, yeah.
Well, especially they were just in the king's room, or they were on their
Yeah.
way to the king's room.
They literally got
Yeah.
into the king's
They
room
had
and
just
then
yes,
Yeah.
and she
yeah.
forgot her bag.
Oh my god. I
I
can't.
could not. And she's like, "No, I got it." As everyone's like, "Literally, no." And she's like, "No, I'm just gonna keep going."
But I
Well,
love
and,
how
like
Luther
Luther
doesn't
obvious
run. He
no,
does.
he just walks, but he obviously can feel her
Mhm.
there. He
Yeah,
knows exactly where she is. He's
I
like,
know that whole thing.
I know you're there. Just come out now before it
Uh-huh.
gets worse. And she's like, no, I'm going to hide behind this pole. You can't see me. Even though she can also feel him.
Uh-huh.
And he's,
It's
I
so
mean,
dumb.
he gives her so much leeway because
Mhm.
he's just like,
Yes.
okay, and like walks off. I'm like, I can't believe he walked off.
Mhm.
I think he just knows a lot more about her than
She knows about him.
even we really know yet,
I don't know.
so
He made a
yeah.
comment about her, something like she's my, and then it got interrupted, and I'm just like, what? Because she was passing out for
Uh-huh.
something. Anyway, so
Well,
he,
that was at the end when she gets hurt, but
yeah.
yes.
So in all of
Yes.
this, while she's running, he like declared to all the guards, "No one will hurt her. If you find her, bring her to me." She like makes her
Yes.
way back, and the guards capture her, and one of them have a knife to her throat and slightly nick her neck, and the prince stabs him. He stabs him. He stabs that guard for putting a little nick on her throat, and he's like, "I said no one."
He was really not happy that someone was hurting her.
He
I
was
do love a protective
I
shadow
was like,
daddy.
yes!
stabby.
Yes!
And they're both stabby and I'm here for it.
Oh
Like,
my
don't
gosh.
mess with my woman.
And
Even
then
though she's not.
poor
But
Mara in all of this, you guys. She's just
I know.
terrified.
I
She's
feel
like,
so
oh
bad
my
for
God.
her.
She is mortified. She's like, I don't know what happened. I thought, like, I, I don't know.
she cracked me up in this. And then she got mad at her.
She said, you're never
She's
going
upset.
back there.
Yep.
Correct.
Understandably, she acts like an asshole
Yes.
every time she's there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Every
And it's
time she's
only
like, you
been
can't control
twice.
yourself. You're
And
not
she's,
going back.
Yeah.
I
She
know.
eggs on the guards. She gets
2
in a
times too
fight
many.
every time. Like,
Yes. And then does
anyone
stupid
else
shit.
would be dead. Anybody else would
Yes.
be dead.
100%.
So she goes back to the stupid guardians and the father, the main man in this realm or whatever, in Lumnos, and tells him that her mission was failed, or that she did not get any map details. In her desperation to feel seen or valuable, she reveals a secret entry through the stone wall to stay with the
So sad.
guardians, because she's just grasping for something, to be a part of something, to still feel like she's
Mm-hmm.
can make a difference. And I feel like she almost regretted that instantly, because
Instantly.
Yes.
Because she even
Yes.
talks about the fact that Lana was with her that day.
oh
And
yeah.
Lana's in the Guardians. And
Mhm.
she's
Yeah.
never obviously
Said it.
revealed it because they were eating that shit up.
That's
So
right.
Mhm.
yeah, that was a big one. I was on edge after she released that for like the whole rest of the book.
Well,
Nervous
yeah,
for
because we were
that.
just like waiting for the other shoe to drop the whole
Yeah.
time. Like, okay, what's gonna come of this?
Yeah.
And they took a little while to actually do anything with that information.
So Henry is waiting for her because he was not allowed in the card game for this meeting. And she's so angry. Diem is so mad at him. She's like, you should have told me sooner about these guardians. And he's like,
Mhm.
but your mom was like a mom to me, so I was just respecting her wishes and kept you away from the Descended. And then he felt like it was a great idea at that point to propose to her.
You know her arguably better than anyone else. You know how she's going to react to that. She's literally never committed to someone before, has massive commitment issues,
Mm-hmm.
and she values her work and what she does for people above all else. You think her just staying home and having your babies is really what she's going to want to do?
Not even that. He's
I
talking
mean,
shit
let's
about
be
her
real.
daddy. Those aren't things that you say to get someone
He's
to.
in love with the idea of
God.
her, not
Yeah.
with her. He has created his own little version of her in his brain, and it does not correlate with who she actually is. And It's very obvious in these moments that I'm like, "You're
Gale
dumb."
and Dane. Point in
Very
case.
much so.
Point
Very much
in
so.
case.
Oh my gosh, but she doesn't tell him no. She says, "I need to think about it because I don't know what the fuck."
Forever.
She doesn't want to
For
hurt
like
his feelings.
weeks. It was like 3 weeks or something like that before it's even like brought brought up again.
Well, yeah, because Teller finally tells their dad, I think 3 weeks later.
Well, not even that, because Henry was pulled away to a secretive mission, right? Because
Yes, he's
Mhm.
been gone.
he's been gone, so she didn't have to deal with it at that moment.
Correct.
So he's been gone most of the nights, and she's like, "Thank God, because I'm not ready to accept this
Have that
proposal." Or
conversation.
yeah, but
Reject his
yeah, and this is when
proposal.
she runs into Lily, and
Lily.
she's like,
Mhm.
Lily's like, "Luther's a good guy, and he really likes you." And I was like, "Oh,
I
so
know.
we're talking about Diem now.
Uh-huh.
It's not just, inner thoughts and inner dialogue. He's actually sharing feelings with somebody else." So
Him
I
and
thought that
Lily
was
seem really
cool.
close.
Oh yeah,
They
for
Yeah.
seem
sure.
really close. I like how she's like, he's actually a really good person. Like people only see his exterior, but he is a good person. She's trying to convince her to give him a chance.
Yes.
Oh, 100% she is. She's like,
Yeah.
"I like this. I like this
Mhm.
combo, and I like your
I
brother."
like your
And that sounds
brother.
like a good
Yeah.
time too.
She's
Let's
so
have a date.
cute. They get
And, like,
little
clearly
rosy
both
cheeks.
yeah, and both her and Luther are clearly much more open-minded people in general.
Mhm.
So, I'm just excited to
Yeah.
see how that
I think
continues.
it's hilarious that she invited her over for dinner, and I'm just imagining Luther's reaction if she had just shown up to the palace to have dinner after that whole last run-in that they had. But then her response to her inviting her to their house was so
I know.
I
sweet. She got
know.
so excited. I think
Well,
Teller wanted to stick his head in the sand and never come back out again when
He
Diem
found
told
out.
him that she said this to her. Like, he
But
was
I
mortified.
I thought it was cute that Lily was like, "Will you teach me healer things?" And they're like, "Oh, I didn't
I
realize that you have to work." She's like, "Oh
know.
no, I could never work.
I
I'm not
can't
allowed
work.
to." But I would
but I would
love
like
to
to know.
know.
I
I
also love
know.
that she never corrects her on her title. And
Mhm.
everyone else is like, "Oh dear God, you
Oh, I
just called
know.
her Lily." Like, are just shocked by it. And she like kind of winces, like, ooh, like she can tell that it, is breaking a rule, but
Yeah.
she really doesn't care.
No,
No.
she doesn't.
No, she just wants Teller. But it's funny how, like, with all the interactions that are happening between Diem and Luther, like, he's still very much like stone face. He very rarely lets on any
Yeah.
emotion in that way. Like, yeah, there might be
No, it
some disappointment or like,
comes a little later still. I feel like
Yeah.
yes.
where we finally see a little more of that.
Ugh.
But this interaction, I think I had all three, like all three of us are talking about like this interaction between Diem and Teller at the dinner table in front of Andre when they're talking about Lily, how we loved this.
Oh my god, she
So
is
good.
just, like, shitting on him so bad, and his dad's like, "Who's Lily?" Like, so excited, and Teller
Mhm.
wants to die, he's so embarrassed, but then he flips the script on her
Mhm.
and is like,
So
"Oh, yeah,
good.
how is our boy Henry?
I
He's
love
practically family now."
I know, and he's like, "I'm sorry, what? Did
Mhm.
Henry propose to you?" And she's like, and he's like, "You better tell me. Are you just not saying anything to this boy? You just haven't answered his question?"
I know, he's like, "You're just torturing this poor kid." I mean, I think it's cute that they have the whole, like, "When did you know?"
Yes.
Yeah.
conversation, and we find out a little bit more about his relationship with Orly and the
Mhm.
fact that, she was there and then she was gone for a year and then she had the baby, and the fact that I think I highlighted this part too. It was like when she was getting ready to run away, she
Mhm.
had to stop by and see him, and it was him seeing her and the baby, and he was like, "I just knew that I would go anywhere that you guys were, and that was now my future." I was like,
Yeah.
"So
Oh,
sweet."
yeah.
First
Yeah.
of all,
That
I
was a
just
good one.
I just
Crying.
love
It's
all
fine.
of their interactions, like,
I know. He loves her
so
so
much,
much.
and the fact that he calls her my DM,
Oh, I
Mhm.
know.
like, I just really love it a lot,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, this was one of my favorite interactions for sure, was
I
this
know.
one with the
Yes.
3 of them,
He just said,
which
"I
we
can't wait
knew
to
was
meet
gonna
you."
be, like, warm and cozy before shit blows up, literally.
Literally blows
Yeah.
up. And she
Yep.
goes a-running. She goes to
Yep.
well, no, because the dad didn't want her to go. Henri didn't want her to go,
No, because
right?
he's like,
No.
because he didn't know that she had been going to the palace and been a
Yeah.
healer, and even
That's
when she
right.
got kicked out of the palace, she was still taking care of Descended in Lumno City. He didn't know that she had been doing that. So he was like, "It's Lumno City. You can't go there. Like,
Your mom
you're
forbids
not
it.
allowed there."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Sorry, bye."
I'm
Yep.
going
Runs
anyway.
anyway.
And she like, yeah,
Yep.
she has
And
that
then runs into the freaking Guardians.
well, yeah, because she grabs
I
all her
can't.
stuff, and then the Guardians are there, and they were just creepy. They were so creepy in this whole scene, this whole chapter. Ugh,
Gave
like,
me the ick big
right?
time.
Yes, the fact that they were laughing and, like, patting each other on the back about the bombs going off, and the more that the bombs went off, and then the fact that they were just gonna take her.
I know, and not like
Yes.
in a good way, like, "Oh, come on, let's go," like, forcefully
No.
take her.
You
Yep.
forcefully remove her from going to help people.
Yeah, they're like,
Mhm.
"Don't go because it's gonna be suspicious." What would be suspicious about a healer going over there to help somebody? That doesn't tie you into anybody.
And the
Everyone heard the
and
bombs.
the
Yeah.
fact that, like, Henry, once again, you know her better than anyone.
Mhm,
You know that her instincts are to go help these people,
mhm,
and you're gonna
Yep.
stop her from doing that because you're putting the rebellion, the guardians above anything else.
mhm.
And you
Mhm.
like, obviously don't care about lives.
Yeah,
No.
but we find out that this whole thing has been going like, planned for weeks or whatever, and they've been
Yep.
that's where
Mhm.
Henry's been gone to. But they try to stop her, and she's running, and she basically has to cut her bag of, like, healing,
All
whatever,
her
All of her
stuff.
medical supplies.
supplies, yeah, off to get away, just to get away, and the
And then she
Guardians
still runs there with her no supplies.
so it ended up being the Bennett's house that got blowed up because there's a shit ton of weapons in there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Um,
the house, it was a warehouse.
the
Yeah,
warehouse.
the warehouse.
Um,
Yeah.
but the guards would not let her through, they weren't letting any mortals anybody or just the mortals?
I think any mortals.
Um,
And
Yeah.
and then anyone, like, into the actual area, but they
Yeah.
closed off Lumno City.
but because Luther can sense her, he sees her and she's like, "Please let me in, like, let me help." What are you laughing about?
I
Because
just
she yells at him so
so
intense
bad.
during this
She's like,
part where
"Hey, asshole!"
she's, like, so
He's
blunt and
trying
not
to
a
ignore
political
her.
way at all.
He tries to
Correct. And
ignore her, but
she
then he just, like, sighs and is like, like, no one else could talk to him that way, and
No.
she's yelling
no.
at him in front of all of his subjects.
I
Like,
just remember laughing so hard in this
same.
moment because I was just like, "Damn, girl's really going for
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
She's trying to die right
Yeah.
here in front of all these people."
Yeah, the fact that he just, like, and, like, turns to her.
And lets her in.
'Cause
I love
she
it.
already
I was
knows that
laughing
he's seen
very
her. Like,
hard.
there's no way you can avoid it
Yep.
now. Like,
Yeah.
"Sorry, we made eye contact. You're letting me through now." Like, now.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
I have
Yep.
nothing to offer but my hands and my presence, but I can be there as comfort for these people that are hurt. And she did.
Yeah.
He finally let her through, and there's, like, a whole line of people that she's just
Mhm.
talking to, and the one at the very
Mhm.
end is not doing very
Is
well, but
dead.
is not.
Yeah.
And then she's crying because I think she prays over that one also, yeah?
She prays
Yeah.
over all of them.
But she can't like, there's no healing that happens, or at least maybe there is, like, a small amount of healing, but not like a big
Yeah, I was, like, too late for the one.
yeah.
It's too late for the one, but I do feel like she did heal the others to a point because it
Yes!
talks
Yeah.
about her rubbing, like, on one of them, she finds a bare patch of skin that is not burnt, and she,
Mhm,
like, rubs that area.
mhm.
And I just thought it was weird for them to point out that it was specifically, like, a non-burnt area. I mean, other than you're not gonna rub a burnt area, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah, I felt like
I feel like she
maybe some
helped
healing?
expedite the healing, like, at least held them
Yeah.
over until someone
Yeah.
with greater power who had more time and resources could
Yep.
get to them.
Or until their healing could kick in.
Well,
Yeah.
and their
Yes.
heart their heartbeats were all very,
Sinking.
very light, and then she's like, yeah, was syncing them up to hers,
Mhm.
and then it says that they all kind of like relax a little bit and start breathing
Yeah.
easier. So I think
Ah!
she did something.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
I think I agree with you on that, but when she's with the last person, I guess there's, like, a female
I know.
commander, one of the people, one of the
Mhm.
descendants, like, there's, like, the facility is unstable, but we think there's more people in there, but it's too small to get access into there, and Diem's like, "I'll go. I volunteer as
Mhm.
tribute.
'Cause he
Send
feels
me in
so
there." She
guilty.
has so much guilt through this whole
So
thing.
much guilt.
Yeah.
Understandably.
Yes, because she's the
Luther's
one.
but Luther's like, "The fuck you will."
I know, I know.
He's
Yes,
like, "Hell no."
the thing is, like, throughout this, like, in the earlier chapters, he's shown, like, a bit of, like, protectiveness, but, like, this part right here was like, "No, the fuck you won't be going in there because you
Yeah,
will not put your
I
life in
know.
danger."
Well, and then she really throws it back at him.
yeah. Like, "You're
I
just
love
gonna
it.
let your subjects die? Okay, that's the kinda king you wanna be?"
Is that what you're gonna tell
Yeah,
everybody?
because of a mortal?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because of Immortal. Oh my god, that really
Mhm. Which
she's
is why he finally lets her in because he's like, "Fuck, you're saying that in front of people,
Yep.
like,
yeah.
fine, you can go in."
I'm
But then
also
I love that he's like, "No one's gonna come in and save you though.
No,
Bitch, you
he
were
said,
just trying
"Don't
to protect
expect
her. Don't
me to
just."
save you, not nobody." He's like, "I'm
yeah,
not gonna go in there after you
Mm.
then." And she's like, "Fine.
I mean,
'Cause he's mad.
Show me
he
the
would.
way.
He
Show
definitely
me the
would.
way."
But I'm excited because they, like, allude to the captain who's a woman, who's, like, the
Mhm.
captain of his guard, and then another soldier, and the guy soldier, like, kinda smirks at the way that she's talking to Luther, so I feel like he's gonna
Yes,
be, like, a found family situation. I feel like the 2 of them are
for
gonna
sure.
come back into play, and I'm excited for that because they both the woman never says anything about her being immortal, like, doesn't talk to
Yeah.
down to her about it at all. And then the fact that the guy just thought it was great that she was talking to
She's giving
Luther
him
like that.
shit.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
"Ooh, I wanna know more about these 2."
I know.
I loved when Diem was like, "Time to see if Grandma Lumos likes me after all," and I was like,
I
"Ooh."
know. I know.
So funny. So funny.
Anyway, so she goes into the broken down warehouse, like the little part that's left over, and she
Burning
finds
building.
the burning building. She finds 4 more people in there. 3 have been murdered, like, not just burnt by the fire, injured by the fire,
Correct.
clearly murdered,
Stabbed.
and then
Yeah.
1 killed by the explosion, which then she just this guilt just eats at her, and she just can't with herself. She just decides, "I'm gonna let the flames take
She's
me.
ready to die.
Just
Yeah.
take me. I
Mhm.
deserve it. I'm just everyone will be better off without me. I deserve this pain of
Mhm.
flame and torture and just let it end like this." And so she just lays there and just waits for the fire to take her. But then this voice,
Mhm.
you guys, the voice, it says fight and it wakes her up.
Mhm.
And then there's this
Yep,
Yep.
sure does.
strong and cold energy that fills her, and she should have been covered in burns and blisters, but her skin is flawless, you guys. She is
Mhm,
doing fine, and her lungs feel great. Like she hasn't been choked out in smoke and living in this place for however long she's been passed out for a little while. But so I mean
mhm.
that's some power. So
Mhm.
she's like, "There's a reason. There's a reason. Let me just call out and see if anyone else is still in here." And she does. She finds 2 more, and just this part too, there are so many good parts
Ugh,
in this book that I could feel and
mhm.
feel the things
Yeah,
happening.
I was feeling this
This
one.
one was
But
one
yeah,
of them.
her
For
dragging them, I was like, "Oh."
well, and then just like
Mhm.
the guy, right, with his hips that were shattered underneath this large
I know, and
pillar.
so every time they moved.
I
Yeah.
know.
And she was like, "We're gonna live. We're gonna make it." And he grasped onto her
He's like,
words.
"Okay.
He's like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
we will. Okay, like we will. Okay, okay." Like
I
that was
know.
it for him. Like he was like, "You're right. You are my hope. You are my spark. I'm gonna grab onto this, and this is it."
Yep.
And she couldn't move this pillar, but she's I remember people saying in times when a loved one is hurt that you just have these the strength that you can move large objects, or
Mhm.
carriages can be taken off children by their moms, and maybe this person can be
Yep.
it for me. And she does it. She just lifts off that beam.
She sure does.
I kind of giggled a little bit this next part because she flipped the unconscious one over and then put the conscious one on top of him and was dragging the
As a
unconscious.
stretcher. Used him as a stretcher. Yeah, I was like, honestly,
Not a bad idea.
You're
not a
like,
bad idea.
Especially with how they're supposed to be built, you know?
yeah,
And the fact that like the other guy was like
pushing.
helping along with his hands. I was
I
just
know.
picturing essentially like a paraplegic
Yep.
person
Mhm.
because his legs were completely not usable, or his hips, like trying to help her along.
Help.
Like I could picture all of this so well.
Yeah.
Just through this
Same.
No, this was
burning,
so well written.
And it was just so slow.
so
slow and drawn out. I was like,
Mhm.
oh my
I
God,
know.
go
And like every
faster."
time she lost strength, and she would just like all of a sudden like find a little bit more, and she would just go an extra 2
Mhm.
steps, because I
Mhm.
can't imagine pulling 2 full-grown people,
Ass men.
basically
Yeah.
Like,
basically dead weight. Even
Yeah.
though one's
yes.
helping with a hand. Dead weight.
Dead weight.
Through debris and like fallen objects and fire
We're
and
talking
everything.
at least
Fire. It's hundreds of degrees in there probably at this point. Like
Yes.
so hot.
Yes. And she's fucking doing it, you guys. She's doing it. She
I
pulls them to the
know.
opening, but just barely enough to like squeeze them through. But that's when Luther sees her, and he commands everyone else to hold the door or the opening up so that, we can pull everybody through. And he's trying to get her, and she's like, no,
No.
get them first. Like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? So
Yep.
he reluctantly says, "Oh, okay, fine," and saves the other two with his light ropes. Ooh, so he does have shadow and light also. Why did I only said
Yeah.
shadow?
Yeah. They
But
say the
then
most powerful have both.
yes, maybe
Yeah.
that's why they thought he was the most powerful. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
then he
Yeah,
comes
both.
for her next, and he actually goes into it though. He doesn't just try to get her with the light
Mhm.
ropes. He actually goes into the burning
He
building.
goes to reach for her.
And then she has the vision, you
And we
guys.
have that vision.
The same
They
like
have the vision together.
together.
Yeah.
And they
Well,
both
now she actually can see who it was because it's the same vision she had with the hag. So now
Yep.
she's in this like intense dark armor, surrounded on a battlefield, surrounded by people in a circle
Mhm.
that are dead
Mhm.
around her, and like they're like touching their hearts
Yep.
at each other, who's across the way. And they're both like
Still doing the same thing.
Yeah.
But they touch their hearts because their heart hurts. Like they're having like a wrenching pain in their heart, and that's why they both grasp it. It's almost kind of like a visceral pain that they were both experiencing at the same time. The vision clears and they're standing across from one another. Then boof! The ceiling collapses and Shadow Daddy panics, but before he could reach out and save her, I think a beam falls on her and she passes out cold. She is out of commission, unconscious, just things don't seem good.
Well, it's all this whole next few chapters are her coming in and out of consciousness and just hearing
Yeah.
snippets of him saying
Yes.
things to people. So he's like, "Get the fuck out of my way," and she's like, "I feel home. I feel warmth. I feel like I'm where I'm meant to
Safe.
be."
Yeah.
Yes, and he's like, "Please don't leave me," but she feels so safe there. And then he's like, "Who the fuck is Eleanor?" Like he says, "Save her, Eleanor." Who's Eleanor? That's who I want to know who Eleanor is.
Some sort of healer.
Some sort of, yeah, because she's like, what am I going to do for her? She's immortal. Go get a healer. So she must have some kind of healing
Something.
abilities as far as Descended go.
And she's trying to get her
Yeah.
some clothes, and he's like, "She wears pants. Don't get her a dress. She wears pants." And
I know, it was cute.
I was like,
Well,
"Oh."
and then she says, Luther, who is this? Who is she to you? And he says, I think she's like, I think he
And then
says,
it
Eleanor,
cuts
I
off.
think she's
Dot,
my.
dot, dot.
Yeah. And I'm like, is it because he thinks that she's the queen? Is it thinks because she's the mate? Like, what the
Mate.
What does
Definitely
he
a
think?
mate. Mate.
We're like, no questions asked. Mate for sure.
Because one, he was talking to her about, because they don't talk about mates except for when he's talking about the king and how, like, yes, he's the king, but he's also an uncle. He's I don't know if he says father. He calls him a mate. And that's the first time that they reference mates in the whole story. So mates are definitely a part of it.
You
Of
guys.
course they are, because it's the best and we love it.
Anyways, so she
Love
starts to
it.
wake up and he hasn't left her side. Their hands are actually touching. Like, and his hands are like, his palm is raised and her hands, I just see it. Like, she wakes up like this. Like, he's just so close by. Oh, and yeah, in his bed, so warm, so safe.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering, okay, you know how you said, do you think that Luther can feel like the power? Do you think that they're connected? Because in her mind, she thought Luther, and then that was when he opened his eyes.
Well, there's more than one time where it seems like he's reading her mind.
Yeah.
There are a few times where he looks at her kind of startled in a
Yeah.
way like he read what is happening very clearly in her mind.
Yeah. I would love that. I do love a mind-to-mind connection.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. But when she wakes up, she doesn't even ask about what happened to her. She only wants to know what happened to Perth, the guy with the broken hips.
Mhm.
Perthy, maybe?
Mhm.
I
Perthy.
know.
And she wants to know about the others, and everyone is okay except for the one. Everyone's going to pull through,
Yeah.
and it's all because of her. And I
Mhm.
could just see, I could
She's
just sense the
brokenhearted even
pride.
about that one.
Yeah, I could just sense the pride he had in her for doing everything
Mhm.
Yeah.
that she did for for the Descended, who she does not believe that she is also a person of.
Yes.
Anyways, and then Soray comes in all hot and agitated. She's all been pissy this morning.
Mhm.
I think, and I was trying to figure out, is she acting this way because Diem's hurt, or because the king is still like he's gonna die soon?
I
I
think
think
both.
both, yeah.
I think she kind of has an inkling that this is going to be her new master and her new master got hurt, but also clearly the king's about to die. So I think she's picking up on all sorts of
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
tension and transition going
Yeah.
on.
the transition is gonna happen soon, and she's feeling that pull to Diem the same way that Diem feels that pull to her every time she's around her. She feels like she needs to go to her.
That's right, because
Yeah.
they said that Soray could be upset because when the king dies, she'll be passed on to her new master, and it could nobody. I mean,
It could,
obviously, Soray might have an inkling of who it is, but nobody else technically knows.
Mhm.
yeah.
So they can
Yeah.
probably that's probably what they thought it was, but maybe.
Welcome.
Let's see here. I thought it was funny when Luther said he didn't know how hurt she was after the accident, and she didn't feel like that she was hurt as badly, but she gets mad at him because she's like, you should have called for a healer sooner. I'm mortal. Like, I could have been gravely injured and died. And he's just
Mhm.
like, what? Like, you really?
He's like, "You really do still believe that?"
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He's
And
I
like,
know. I love how often he's like, "What? Are you dumb? You really still think you're a
Yeah.
human
yeah,
after all of this?"
I know. And I thought it was so sweet that he was just, even while all this stuff was happening, it only been a night, right? Wasn't like over
Mhm.
days. She was
Yeah, it wasn't
unconscious.
a long time.
She
Yeah.
was unconscious for several hours, maybe. But he's already sent a message to her family saying that where she was, and that message was so fucking sweet. Like, she's
I
safe.
I
She'll have the
know.
best healer. She's under protection of so and so in the private quarters, and this and this. And Andre was fucking pissed.
I was gonna say, Daddy didn't like that.
Daddy
Right?
did not like that.
Not like that. But we'll get to that later. But while they're there and Diem is feeling well, Luther's like, can you just check on the king real fast while you're here? Just put
I
eyes
know.
on him. Just see him. And she's like, I have nothing here. He's like, I just check on him. So they go.
This is where I feel like, going back to kind of the energy thing, I don't know whether he knew that she was gonna be the person that received the crown. Like, I feel like he had an inkling that it was gonna be her because he pushes her to go near the king so hard in this moment that I'm like, it felt like there was an ulterior motive. And the fact that he very, very specifically, blatantly leaves them alone together
Mhm.
when he's never left anyone alone with the king. It just made me feel like he knew that it could potentially be her instead of him.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, and he was just making it out to be like he thought he was dying soon, which I
Mm-hmm.
mean, he could have picked up on that, but
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. It could have been more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I just thought it was because he still thought of her as the palace healer. Like she hadn't said that she quit yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought it was
And
just
he,
that.
I mean, who knows? Maybe he just didn't want her to leave yet. And that was his
Yes.
excuse to like be around her still.
Yes.
That's what I was thinking. Like he
That
was
could be
trying to
too.
thinking of ways to keep her close for a little bit longer. But this
Yeah.
king, like I could also see this vividly in my mind where he was just agonal breathing.
Yeah.
And I was like icky
Yeah.
feelings with that
Yeah.
whole part because I was like,
Yeah.
I know. I
this
was like, here he goes
he's
right
not
now.
he's not
Yeah.
doing well. But when Luther got called out to do whatever, and it was just her and the king, that whole interaction, I kind of got spooked out with it.
I was like,
It was
God damn it, he's
scary.
gonna die with just her in there, and then they're gonna blame her. Ugh.
Yeah, for
Uh-huh.
sure.
Which I mean, kinda happens to a degree, like blaming her, not necessarily him dying, but like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm. 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 Mhm.
Yeah. I
Um.
mean, this is where I feel like he has the prophecy that he says all those things to her when he like it's like obvious it's not him that's speaking
Mhm.
at that
Mhm.
point. Like,
That's a woman.
um,
Mm.
it's a woman, so that to me makes it seem like it's Lumnos.
Mhm.
Even though, have we got confirmation that Lumnos is a woman? I think I might
Yes.
just be.
No, it is.
Is she a
She
woman?
is.
Okay.
Yeah, they said Grandma
Um,
Lumos. So
yeah. I don't know.
I know there was a lot. She started doing her whatever sacred rites of
Rites of
endings
endings.
and said all that. And then after she finished, that's when he woke up and he's like, "You finally come." And I was like, "Oh shit, he's been waiting for her."
I know.
Mhm.
I was like, uh-oh, he's awake.
I know. And then they
Mhm.
said, they told me your blood would shatter our stone and lay waste to our borders. And that can be perceived in two different ways, right? Like it can shatter the borders and everyone will be together as and peaceful, or it can be shatter the borders and everyone will be at war. So it just all depends
Yeah.
on like the interpretation of it. And then his
Yep.
crown starts to show. And then he says,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not afraid, devourer of crowns, ravager of realms, herald of vengeance. Who the fuck was he talking to? Is he accusing her of being this person or like death?
I think it's her dad.
I don't know. I think it could be her because if she is of all realms, if so, this is what I wrote earlier that I was like, oh my god, let's talk about it later. Like, is she gonna start going realm to realm, and she's gonna end up being queen of all realms?
Ooh.
And so, devourer of crowns, she takes all the crowns. Ravager of realms gets rid of all the borders of all the realms and
Mhm.
unites all the realms. And then herald of vengeance, she obviously is seeking vengeance not only against the descended that have done wrong so far in this, but also the guardians
Mhm.
have also
Yeah.
wronged her. So I feel like it could be her because vengeance is still her motivation at this
Mhm.
point.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep. No, I can totally see all of that happening.
Mm-hmm.
I really cannot wait to get started on this next book. Okay,
Mhm.
and so then his voice changes to a girl and she starts to say, "Give him our gift, daughter of the forgotten. When the end has come and the blood has spilled, give our gift to my faithful heir and tell him this is my command." So, what gift is she giving?
Well, and it's to Luther because she had mentioned Luther. And it's interesting that he's their faithful heir. Clearly, he has some inkling to what's going on.
So they
He
have to be like
must,
a combo together or something like that, right? There is a gift that she
yeah.
Yeah.
has. Is it a baby?
Maybe.
Give our
I
gift
don't
to my.
know,
I
or
don't think
the
it is.
power. I don't the power of something. Like he might be the Lumnos heir, and she might be the heir of all realms, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Maybe there's gonna come a point where he's gonna lose all of his magic, and she needs to give him the Lumnos magic from herself to him. I don't know.
Maybe.
Well, and I still want to know because the hag made a reference to a heartstone.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to know if there's something with that.
Well, and they
Ooh.
told me your blood would shatter our stone.
Correct. Like they
Mm.
keep mentioning a stone, and I think it's this heartstone. And
Well,
they, again, yes, it's always blood on heartstone. So, and then it says the chains will be broken. So I'm just curious, does that mean the borders? Does that mean like
well, I
power
think
won't be limited to all these different areas? There's just so many things that could be broken, I feel like,
Mhm.
so.
at this point.
At the end, when Orly is in that, like I kind of look at them as like obelisks,
Oh yeah.
in a circle with all the fires on top of them. There's a stone in the center of that circle.
Yep.
She touches it
Yeah.
and it burns her. So she's obviously not supposed to touch it. She also sneaks into that area. You can't go directly into it because of the magic. So it
Mhm.
could be that all the magic of the borders for the realms all come from that
stone.
specific stone. So you might have to do something on that stone in
Mhm.
order to break the magic in all the realms.
Something's gonna happen, and
I mean,
I was gonna say, I almost think the fact they're all separated into these different realms is a curse of some kind. Like
yeah.
the 10th person was pissed about it or something and like separated them all so they couldn't actually intertwine their powers.
I like
Mm.
that theory.
Because it says in the old hag one, it says, then the chain should be broken. Life for life, old debt requires, or eternal be his yoke. So I think this 10th person is holding this crazy ass curse and she's going to have to be the one to break
Mhm.
it. But it's
Yeah.
curious, life for life, like who's going to have to die?
Yeah. Because
Him.
or
He had to die
he'll,
for her. I don't know.
or he'll have to like,
I don't want either of them to die.
No, the
or
kindred.
this guy will have to like, will live forever kind of thing. Like,
Ugh.
eternal will be his yoke.
Anyways,
I am curious.
that was all nuts. I know. And then, so he goes limp, and then she falls backward because shit, that was scary as fuck. And she trips over things and loud noises, and everyone comes running in. And Luther's kind of accusing her of, he doesn't say it, but he definitely goes and checks the king for any stabby wounds because he knows she's got that knife.
Yeah.
Because he put it
Because
back
her knife
on
was
her.
out, wasn't it?
Yeah.
She got scared.
Yeah, but he put that knife back on her when he dressed her.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
he
know.
knew that the knife was there. Anyways, and she's like, "What the fuck is this? Arrest me or let me go. Like, you're the one who left me here by myself. I didn't ask to be here.
Mhm.
You brought me in
Yeah.
here." But before all this, before they had come in, Luther told her that I know everything. Like, I know that you're part of the Guardians, and nothing happens in my
Mhm.
kingdom without me knowing. So that's already like
And
a
he
blow
still
to
has,
her.
yeah, but he
Yes.
still treats her kindly and gives her
Mhm.
trust. He says after he admits he knows she's in the Guardian, she's like, "You're gonna leave me alone with the king?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm trusting you."
Mhm.
Mhm.
Mhm. Anyways,
Yep.
so she tries to run away, and one of the guards try to stop her, and he's like, "Touch her, and I'll fucking rip your arms off." And I was like, "Damn!" Like
Mhm.
he's feeling the things, you guys. And she leaves,
Yes, he is.
but he follows her. He actually follows her this time, and I don't think he's just walking. I think he's actually running to keep up with her this time.
Mhm.
But as
Yes.
he approaches her, she turns on him and basically has this knife, that blade to his throat, and he just starts. He didn't bleed just then, but he definitely presses against her, and he's like, "Kill me." He's like, "Just let this,
Mhm.
just let me die with the feel of your lips on my lips," or something like that. And I was like, "Oh
Yes,
my
I die.
god!"
I die. Man, then
Ah!
they have quite the
They did not hesitate at all as
No,
soon as
and
he
it
said
was
no.
that.
like it was a kiss. I didn't like there wasn't a lot
Yeah.
of it was it was passionate. There was like hair
I
pulling
mean, the
maybe.
fact that she like says she wanted to burn
Yep.
with Henry and never got that, and like just a kiss from Luther, she was like burning.
Burning. Uh-huh.
Yep.
Ooh,
Mhm.
ooh.
Mhm.
And then she's like, "What the fuck am I doing?" And she's like, "I'm not a hussy.
Yeah.
I don't just go around
I
kissing
could
people. I don't
not
know
with
who you
that.
think I am."
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what? I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I was trying to figure out if you're like this big liar, but really you're just lying to yourself this whole time. Like
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. And he's
I
like,
know he kind of gives a dig at her.
I know. He's
Yeah.
like, tell me you don't feel it. Tell me you don't feel my magic. And that little voice inside of her, it's not telling her to fight, but it's like, I feel you, baby.
Yes, I know that internal voice
And
kills
then he's
me.
like, I feel yours. Like, just admit it, please. Just, I know you feel it with me. And he said, then he
Nope.
says, I won't enforce your mom's
Deny,
bargain.
deny, deny.
I know. Tell her can keep going to school. You don't just be the palace healer. And she says, no, I'm
I
quitting.
know.
I need to do this for myself. It has nothing to do with you. But that
Mhm.
also means that he probably won't see her ever again. And he is
Mhm.
so devastated by that.
Yeah.
That's not what he wants in this life.
No.
And he kind of reminds her of their shared vision they had in the burning building. And then he says, what if our story isn't over, Diem Bellator? What if it's only beginning? What if it is
Yeah,
only
it is.
beginning?
Yeah, it is.
That's what I want. I want it to be only the beginning.
I
Keep
know.
going.
And
Yes!
you know, not just from the kiss, but you know that she's like, when she says, fix that hole in the wall on the outer perimeter, like fix it as soon as you can, like, you know, she's in it. Like, she's all up in her feels too, and she's just denying it so hard.
Yeah.
I'm so glad she told him that because I was like, I was like really worried about what's gonna happen. So I hope he
Yes.
does that.
No, every
'Cause
Well, and
time.
that was like,
Every chapter I was waiting for something to happen in that wall. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
god.
I thought that the bombs were gonna definitely be in the palace.
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, but that was like her way of owning up to it too. Like,
Yes.
I did play a part in this.
Yeah.
Like,
True.
Which he knew.
which he did know, but maybe he didn't know like her level of help in that
Yeah.
until that moment. So,
But doesn't she ask him?
yeah.
She's like, was it this chapter? She's like, where's my mom?
Yeah.
And he still doesn't tell her. And he's like,
Mm-mm.
what you
Yeah.
think happened is not what you think happened. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was kind of like, I'm
Mhm.
leaving. This is not
Mhm.
working. So Diem goes and tells everyone that she's quitting being a healer. First, she starts with Mara, and Mara's she's not sad about it. She actually seems relieved because she's doing something for herself. She's not relieved because she's not,
Mhm.
following through with what her mom. She's just finally you're
Yeah.
doing something for you, and not because your mom told you to do it or because your mom told you not to
When
do it.
she had already said something to her along those
Oh yeah,
lines too. Like, if this isn't what you want to do, like, don't do it. So I feel like she
Yeah.
already had her support even prior to this to do
yeah.
Yeah, for
something
sure.
else.
Well, and then when she goes to Henry, and Henry's just a fucking dick. He's like, you should have run.
Douche.
Like, she stood out there for a whole hour trying to contemplate like how she was going to tell him that she was leaving, that she wasn't going to be a healer anymore, and that she regrets being a guardian. And all he says is, you shouldn't have run. You made things so much worse. And she's like, well, why don't you just come with me? Like, this is what you've always wanted. And he's like, when I was a kid, it's not what I want now.
Yeah. He's lost. That guy's
Mhm.
lost at this point, you know?
Yeah. And she's like,
He know
yeah, I don't know. He just thinks that the only way to like get back to the Descended is through violence. And she's like, it's not the
violence.
only solution. And he's like, it's the only solution. He's like pissed off at her
Mhm.
at
I
this
know.
point because she obviously is not seeing it his way, and
Mm-mm.
he can't fathom why she doesn't understand. But then
Yep.
he tells her, he's like, well, your dad's a dick too. Like, your dad joined the military. You didn't know? Was he
Yep.
reading the mail? Yes, he was reading the mail because he's a
Yeah.
guardian. So that's
Well, he was
Sure was.
because his dad's the courier, and
mhm,
Yeah.
so he saw it in the mail, and yeah, he
mhm.
read his acceptance back into the army letter, which was kind of fucked up by Andre.
Yeah.
Like, I get that he said there was no denying it, and there was no, like, you should have told your kids. That was 2 weeks ago. Should have told
Yes.
Mhm.
your kids. But the way that Henry went about this, and the fact that he was just like, throwing it in her face and trying to turn her
Correct.
against her dad, who he blatantly knows is arguably the most important person in her life, other than her mom and Teller, obviously.
Mhm.
But like he's sitting there trying to like
Mhm.
turn her against her family, and I'm like, more red flags. More
Uh,
red flags.
yeah.
Big time. Well, then he's the one Henry's the one that tells her about like tell her shouldn't go off
Oh,
to
yeah! To Sophos or
the
whatever.
school or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, which I was grateful at least that he shared that so she could
Yeah.
be wary of that because I mean that's been their dream this
No, but see,
whole
I don't
book. She's
believe
talked
it.
about
I don't believe it.
I don't know, but I think it's worth looking into.
For
Yeah.
sure, but I don't believe it. I feel like, whenever it's like the horror stories that you tell your kids to make sure that they behave
It
kind of
could
thing.
be.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
hoping in my head that's really going on because I'm like, really? They just
I
have
don't
these
know.
people burn?
But
I think
also,
there's bad on both sides
I
though.
think there's bad
Like
on both sides. And I also feel like I was frustrated in this moment because you can feel Diem turning again and like
Mhm.
getting
yes.
mad again and being not like back on the Guardian side, but like definitely back on the like hating the Descended side. And I just feel
Mhm.
like everything's gray. Everything's always gray. There's good
Yes.
Mhm.
and bad on both sides. I think we're going to learn a lot about the Descended in the next book.
Yes.
And it's not going to be quite what she thinks it is so
Correct.
far.
No. I
Yes.
agree.
So she walks back home from Henry's house. Like, I feel like kind of in a daze because she's probably thinking about all the things that he just said that, you
She's
know,
mad
she's
at
like,
her dad.
everything is wrong, right? Like, her
Mhm.
career is over. The
Yes.
Guardian sees her as an enemy, and she's not ready to give up the fight against the Descended, but she still
Yeah.
feels that calling or that pull. Teller's dream is dead. Andre was leaving for war. Her mom is still missing, and then of course, fucking Luther and whatever feelings she's denying with that. But there's so much that is going on that I feel like she's having a hard time with it. But
Mhm.
as she's self-reflecting and whatever, Andre snaps her out of it and he's like, I learned something interesting today. What a way to come home and your dad says something like that to you. I would be scared
Yeah.
shitless
Oof.
if my dad
Yeah.
was
He was
commanding.
But
mad.
she's pissed, so she doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, she's ready to fight.
Oh my
Yep.
gosh. And he's like, I was scouring the city for you. And you know what that kind of reminded me of? That kind of reminded me of when your mom disappeared. But lo and behold, when I get home, there's a note from the prince. And you know what it says? All the things. All the things. And he was like, I know this family pretty damn well.
Uh-huh.
Worked with them closely, and I've never been invited past their sitting room, and you're staying in their room. Luther is not a kind person, and who the fuck is Lillian?
Mhm.
And then Teller gets dragged into this, and fuck,
Mhm.
I know.
Mhm.
And then DM tells Teller what happened, that Andre actually got called back to service, and Teller was floored with that too because he was not expecting that. He says,
Mm-mm.
No. Was
"No,
also very
Mhm.
disappointed, not
yeah."
so much angry
He's
like
like,
her, but
"You
very
can't go."
disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, "Why? Why are you even saying
Mhm.
yes? Why is this even an option? Like, why are we even entertaining this idea?" It was not good.
I could not get over the fact her dad said she needed to marry Henry.
Well,
I
I
she's
know.
only said that
was
because she
shook.
quit because she told him, like, I can't pick up extra shifts to help take care of Teller because I actually quit being a healer. And he's like, "Well, fuck. Well, okay, well, it's fine. You're gonna just marry Henry then." What? Like, that's the answer?
Ew.
Even though
That
they've
part, I
had
was
that
like,
and they had that whole conversation about her being unsure about it, but
yeah.
now you're gonna force her into marrying him? Sir.
Yeah.
No,
No.
you
And
will
he was
not.
like, "You will listen because I'm your dad."
No, you're not.
No, you're
Uh-oh.
not. And then that's when
That part made me so
I
sad.
know, but that's when she
It did,
challenges
but I didn't blame
him.
her for
I
it
know.
in this moment.
I
Like, I could
know.
not
But it
with
was her voice. Her voice was
yeah.
telling her like fucking hurt to fight, like hurt him because you are hurting
Yeah.
also.
She was like
And
physically wanted to hurt him also in that moment.
she's
Yes.
like, "Why aren't you looking for mom? Why did you give up so easily?" And he's like, "Get the fuck out of my house."
Yep.
I know, that was
He
intense. I was
definitely
like,
knows where she is.
Oh, for sure.
yes.
He's one of the people.
Yes.
So she storms
Yeah.
out because she got kicked out, and Teller follows her. But she is fucking enraged, you guys.
Mad, mad.
And that voice is just like beating in her head. Free
Mhm.
me, daughter of the forgotten. And I can just imagine she's like, she said that she lifted her hand to the gods as a great beam of light shot from her palms and into the heavens. And I can just see her in my head, like lifting her hands, lifting her head, and then her falling to her knees from like this pain. And then just light just shines from, oh my gosh, so well written, so vivid in my brain.
Mhm.
Ah, and
When
then
I love that it's Teller that tells her,
Mhm.
like,
I know,
"Diem, you're wearing the crown. You've been selected. You are the new queen of" like, what?
I know. I
I
feel like
love that Teller witnessed it.
Yeah.
I can hear his voice shaking as he says this,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's not like a,
Yes.
"Oh, shit, like, you're it." Like, no, he's just like, "Oh,
Oh, shit.
fuck."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
100%.
And
Yep.
that's where the chapters end, and we move on to the epilogue.
Yep. Where we get another little,
Which is why
"What
we
the
are
fuck?"
dying to read the next
to read the
book
next one. Mhm,
because
for sure.
ah, that was a cliffhanger.
Orly somewhere,
Yeah.
somewhere in Amarion, and
Mhm.
she was waiting for King Ulthar to die, but did not expect it to take this long. She thought that maybe like I don't know, like a few weeks maybe, but she'd been there for 6 months
She's been
and
gone for 6+ months, yep.
Two
something,
and a
and
half weeks.
but she knew that because she had been there before to actually track the days this time, because last time she was there, she didn't know how long she was there, but she knew she was there long enough to have a baby. So clearly
Mhm.
she's been here before and she had a baby there, which is Diem. But it
Yep.
said it had
Mhm.
taken her 20 years to get back to this place. Only 3 people knew of her plan and 2 knew where she was going. Andre and Luther, and then maybe the father? Who else would be the 3rd person?
Maybe Mara, because Mara also felt like she kept saying, like,
Yeah.
when she comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like, she knew she was coming back, she just maybe didn't know, like, she didn't know the whereabouts
Maybe.
maybe so
Yeah.
much.
Maybe. And then she was talking to a room. I'm guessing there was a being
A
in there,
cave.
a cave.
Yeah.
And she says, "I came back for you." But she's afraid. She's like counting the steps to make sure, because she knows where the safe zone is. So I'm like, whoever's in here is dangerous. Got to be dangerous.
Mhm. And
Um,
trapped.
Yeah.
and trapped. Like they
Yeah.
can't get past a certain point. So, but she's like, this person is dead, but she still goes and checks in every once in a while to see if there's anyone
Yeah.
that answers back to her call.
But
Mhm.
she said the way she knows that 15 steps is safe because she learned that the hard way
Yep.
the last time.
Yep.
And she knows that she can see the dark stain that was from blood
Mhm.
because she put it there. So, like, she's checking to make sure that this being is actually dead, that she actually killed him the last time she left.
Mhm.
So, that's why, like, when we're like, oh, she went there and maybe fell in love or had a baby, I don't think it was that. I don't think it was anything
I know.
nice because
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
sounds like she got taken.
Yeah.
But I feel like she went there for a
Yeah.
mission and then it turned into that. Like maybe this person didn't know she
Yes.
was
Yeah.
there and like that. And
Yes.
I don't know. Either way,
I don't I
this
don't
was
think it was a good thing.
but she said this was her home once upon a time. And I don't feel like if some place that you're trapped would be considered your home, it'd be considered like your
Well,
prison.
You're
unless
forced home maybe.
it
Yeah. Yeah.
either force home, force enforcer with whoever that was, or he attacked her. She fought
Mm,
back, killed him after the fact. She realized that she got pregnant
yeah.
and she knew
Had
what
to
he
wait it out.
was and had to wait it out to see what the baby looked like before she could take it back, because otherwise it would have been murdered.
True, 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 true. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know because it was no King Ulthar. and started that progeny rule, and then I think all the other realms are adopted that rule
Mhm.
also. Okay, so it
Yeah.
wasn't 10 columns, it was a 10-pointed star with 9 fires that was in there. They
Mhm.
didn't actually talk about how many onyx columns there were. Um, but there was one with a crescent moon with emerging from a fiery sun, and we're suspecting that's King Arthur's
Mhm.
representation of power or of.
No, I mean, that's their crest. They talk about their crest a lot on all the guards'
But it
uniforms. It's
goes
their
dark. It goes dark after a series of piercing.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm like, is that his like is was that holding his power?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's the representation of the monarch and then the changing of it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
then a column of light from the forest and then a twin beam from the skies shoot down with a sapphire glow. Ooh, who's Sapphire? Now I gotta look into that.
I think she was also seeing Diem's because Diem, when this was happening to her, it says that
The
a
beam of light.
column of light went up, a beam of light went up from her. So I
Yeah.
think she's seeing both.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the glow beside her was Sapphire. Did that turn into a column?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I
But
don't know.
either way,
And I don't
with
remember.
all the events that happened, she knows, Arlie knows that the king is finally dead, and in 30 days she can go home.
Which I want to know the significance of having to wait 30 days.
Yeah,
Well, maybe it takes 30 days for the inauguration from the time that it
Maybe.
is like
Maybe.
crowned to like
oh,
acknowledging them. So she only wants to go back when her daughter is actually the queen of Lumnos.
oh, so she suspects
Um,
that she's going to be queen. Okay,
she knows. She's
Or
been waiting for this whole time. I feel like
but
she
she had
knows that
her
it's going to
daughter
be
taking the
her.
flame route, and so
yeah, so how would she
True.
I was going to say I feel like she was waiting for someone else to come into power.
just somebody.
Luther?
I think
I
she
think
just yeah,
maybe
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 Luther, because they were working
and then she's going to
together.
come back and it's going to be her daughter and her world's going to be
I know
rocked.
she's gonna
Well,
be.
maybe the actual pact that she made with Luther was for her daughter. Like, yes, also for Teller, but also like when you come into power, you will not kill my daughter when she comes into her power.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah,
could have been a
could
part
be.
of it too. I don't know.
There's a lot to suspect, and I really
I know.
cannot wait to get into this book.
Yes.
I'm glad that we had this like run through because now it's like more fresh in my brain after talking to
I
you
I
now.
know.
know, and now I can go right into it remembering everything.
Yeah, at least all the
Yeah.
highlights and stuff. But what do you guys think we'll see
Mhm.
in this next book with like Luther? Do you think that he will still try to pursue DM or anything like that? Or I hope
Absolutely.
so.
I mean, I think they're gonna have to because she's now the crown. She's gonna have to get involved somehow with the
Well, I
palace.
mean, do you
Wait,
think
Like,
she's gonna go into hiding or something? Obviously, she's still in denial
well,
about this
I
whole
was gonna
damn
say
thing.
she could run away. She
she
could run
could.
away, but
My wonder
obviously
is,
he's gonna know he's not the crown.
True.
but Teller is technically now a royal. So can he technically be with Lily now? One, she can get rid of the progeny laws, but
Mhm.
he's the queen's brother now, so
No, but he's still
Yeah,
just
but he's still
mortal.
mortal.
I
I
know,
was gonna
but
say the problem is the mortal thing.
Mhm.
It's not
It's
the
the
I know,
power.
but she has to
royalty
get rid
thing.
of the she's got to
Oh,
get rid of the
that'll be
progeny law
demolished, like, as soon as she can. I'm sure there's, like,
immediately.
hoops I'm sure there's hoops to
As soon as
jump.
she can. I think
Yeah,
there's gonna be a lot of obstacles in her way from
Yeah.
doing what she wants to do, though.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, a lot of
Yeah.
But
pushback.
yeah, I don't
Absolutely.
know how long it's gonna take her to get discovered and put in and meet all these obstacles because, yes, I think she's gonna continue to be involved with Luther. It's gonna have to be a forced proximity continuation
My
Yeah.
for
favorite.
sure. I do love. Um, but yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out because she's gonna be fighting it
Yeah.
and still in denial, I think,
Yeah.
even throughout all of this. She's gonna be
Yes.
like, "No, I don't have power. I'm not." And we're gonna be like, "Literally, you can't
You
keep telling
have a
yourself."
crown on your head that grew of light. Like, come on.
I'm not gonna
I
lie, guys, that is one of the tropes that I hate the most is the denial tropes. I
Oh,
really
Yeah.
it really like for a while, yeah, sure. But like when they really drag it out, I'm like, just accept it and let's freaking see your power. Come
yeah.
on.
If they don't have at least a couple steamy moments in this next book, I'm going to be very disappointed.
I don't know.
Just
The
saying.
third book is pretty lengthy, so
True. But man, to draw it out a whole nother book without at least some little give-ins. It doesn't
Oh,
have to be a full-on we're together,
there will
but
be
like at
something.
least yes, we've got to have some because
100%.
I mean, again, they've got to be mates.
yeah.
They got
Yeah.
to be.
I'm just curious about the whole family situation is going to be like. Do we think that Orly is going
Mhm.
to be back in the second book, or is it going to be over 30 days that this book is happening? Is Andre and Diem's relationship ever going to be okay, or are we just? I mean, I
Mhm.
don't know. And then Teller, what's Teller going to do? He obviously knows. Like,
Mhm.
there's so much. And that's it for today. We hope you enjoyed reading Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. We will be releasing the next podcast episode 2 weeks from today, August 16th. We'll be discussing the second book of the Kindred's Curse Saga, Glow of the Everflame. Also, if you like what you hear, then please share it with your friends. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and all major streaming platforms. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye, book besties.